I stop the recordings every hour or so just because it overwhelms my system to have these monster 12-hour recording sessions. And we're back up
Yeah.
in live. So, OMG, I love steak. Ooh, that sounds good. Except it's going to be more of OMG, I happen to like leftover pizza again tonight. Welcome back, Pi. Yeah, in chat, people are discussing things like discovering a few other things. As one of our interviewees has pointed out, you're not a bad person if you don't like something. You're not a bad person if you do like something. For the most part, you're not a bad person. It's just different tastes.
You're not a bad person regardless of what you like. Even if what you like is not something that is commonly accepted as being a good thing. You're only a bad person if you act on that.
Okay, you are correct on that. Acting on things that are not good for other people or for yourself. But even for yourself, if you do something that's not good for you, sometimes, honestly, I really need to eat pizza for dinner today versus going out and getting a nice healthy salad. No, I should bicycle to the nice healthy salad place and have a nice healthy salad, but I'm having pizza. And it's not the best option. Okay, so Captain Darling says, I'd like interior of ships. Random times when you need to, say, hunt boarding parties. That would be kind of awesome. I know why they make us do hunting the boarding parties in missions, because it's really hard to set it up in last count I knew of, which was last year. There were 357 different ships in the game. I know that has expanded massively in this time. So creating something that affects 300, maybe close to 400 different ships isn't something that's doable. But yeah, I do love the idea of getting into ships' interiors more.
Yeah, retrofitting that is a pain in the posterior.
Mm-hmm. But
if they had set up the generic interior maps so that they're essentially pre-made spawn points for in-ship patrols, ship defenses, boarding parties, whatever, essentially already laid in the pathing and spawn points for them, and then it wouldn't be that hard to just say use spawn point 5 and call it a day.
But even just to have a ship interior, even if it's not for fighting, I'd really like to get back to that. They were there in the earlier ships. Now you have a very cut down in some of them, and some you just have the bridge, and you can never leave the bridge. And I heard another voice there talking.
Might have been me.
Oh, yep, Duffy. Yeah, feel free to jump in, Duffy. But I know you've got your opinions on stuff. And I think we all need to. I was just thinking,
it would probably be easier to set that up as a patrol.
Yeah.
For the boarding party. And then they would actually give us a ground patrol again.
Yes, that is something that's come up with ground patrols. When they did the 7 of 9 one, they were talking about this the other day. They massively overdid it. I mean, it's far more detailed and far lengthier than any of the space patrols that we've got. But they're aware of the enthusiasm for having a ground patrol. And I think, based on what they were saying, I'd really like to see them execute some more ground stuff. Yeah, ground is catching on finally.
I was just thinking with Captain Darling's suggestion there that it might be the easiest way to set that up.
Knowing nothing about computers, and you guys do, so I defer to your wisdom on that one.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a preset, say a hallway, and you say on each end and maybe in the middle there's a point that you call spawn point hallway 1, 2, and 3. And then from one end to the other, you essentially plot a route, go from point 1 to point 3, and go from point 3 to point 1.
Captain Darling says it would have to be a main corridor battle, which is fine too. That would be cool. It would absolutely be fine to do that. Satalia said, I want to spice up the Ryza event a bit, add a Kraken in the water. They've talked about doing this, and doing a water aspect of it is apparently not as easy as I want it to be. I want it to be simple. I want to have an underwater race. I want to go scuba diving. Yeah, it'd be fun to have a Kraken just showing up, though, on the edge of it, out there, and you see, and see, the arms flailing above them. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, having some kind of water world would be nice. Something where you can actually go underwater and explore stuff there.
I would like to do that. They said they have to basically create an entirely different map for that, which...
Yeah, definitely.
Fine, I get that. Yeah, Harold's interview was awesome.
But on the other hand...
fascinating.
the summer event is kind of the happy feel-good event,
It is, but
and the winter event is the Q's fucking with us event.
yeah, there's a little too much
So-
PQ in the winter event for my taste. But, I can go and cook recipes and eat pies and do races. And the snowball fights are fine, but it's easier for me to, go in and do my daily on the winter thing and have a little bit of fun and leave. Versus Ryza, I really resent the fact that I have to go and do the endeavors and that I have to do missions. Because, darn it, I could be here happily for 6 weeks.
I actually would like to have something like a fishing contest somewhere.
Oh, now that actually is a good idea. I bet they could do it because they added the ice fishing. I wonder if they could add ground fishing
Yeah, but
here.
I just meant a regular fishing, nothing special. Just
Just go fishing?
random person sitting near some random piece of water and throwing using the
fun.
fishing rod to simply catch some regular fish. Maybe then take the fish to the nearest campfire and grill it, whatever.
That would actually be fun. I like that. And there's so many areas that aren't being used where you could do that.
Another thing I would like to see on Ryza, particularly, is there's a lot of these sunbathing chairs, whatever they're called, that you can't use.
Yeah, there are some you can, but then people can get in. There were some over here. I don't remember. They're all used up.
On several beaches, there's a couple that you can't use. You
Yeah,
can use
these-
the one near the resort,
These three you
but
can
not
use.
all of them.
But we were sitting here chatting on these chairs the other day, and when I went to record them, we had sunk through to the bottom, and you could just see our heads sticking out through them, which was fun.
Yeah.
Let me go back and pick up some of these things. I want my nighttime Ryza. I totally agree. I want nighttime Ryza back. I get it, but I want it back. It was so good. I missed some of the sillier, funnier stories like the salt vampires. Yep. And the mini ones like the ones on Nimbus and Drozana. The mini stories on Nimbus are still there. They're just in the available tabs. And we redo them. Drozana is there too. And again, it's in the available tabs. I miss having the new Romulus ones there, but I figured out how to do it. Even though it's not in the tabs anymore. Let's see. Mr. Dave says, I really don't do the winter event anymore. It's just not fun for me, but remember, I'm not a bad person because of it. No, you're not a bad person because of it.
Absolutely not.
No.
What I would like to see for the winter event is a storyline. We don't have one. And it's a Q event, so there should be a storyline, in my opinion. Not just random stuff cobbled together.
Some of it's funny. Some of it I'm tired of. I really would like to see the Borg Snowman one. Oh, what is that? It's a battle. You have to.
Which one? The one where all the snowmen in the entire map rise up, or the one where they invade on that one area?
Borg Snowmen are coming down Black Diamond Lane. Borg Snowmen are coming down.
Yeah, that one.
That one. I'm tired of that one. It had bugs in it the first time around, and since then it's meh.
I actually think that would be a nice
Thank you.
final battle for the last, say, few hours of the event.
That's the
Prevent
thought.
the area being overrun and everyone has to stick together and make it really freaking tough. And any instance that gets overwhelmed shuts down.
Harold says, I meant I would like to more stories like Nimbus and Drozana. Yes, so would I. I gather they are a royal pain in terms of resources and time.
Yeah.
But yeah, boy, are they fun. They are fun.
You know
Big
what I
maps are
would like?
delicious.
I would really like that in the fleets that you can interact more with the fleet stores.
Well, as in what? I don't understand.
Well, it's just whenever you're done with your fleet, people hardly use it. You can't really do anything in them. I think what they did with the Draenor, where you can start to ground battle zone, I would wish that you could do somewhat similar to the other stores.
Okay. So it has a function besides just being there?
Yeah.
And I would also really like, and I actually think we've talked about it before, that you as a fleet admiral can actually start your own discount in your fleet stores.
Oh, yeah, we have definitely mentioned that one internally a lot of times. I don't know if they've ever heard anything we've said about it. But think about it. Do a discount in the fleet or have some way where the fleet can, help pay for things like that. So if you've got a fleet member and you want to offer a 10% discount, but the balance comes out of the fleet stores, fine. What's the problem? That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or even have it set up as a fleet project where once it's completed, you get, like, say, 24 hours of discount or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really interesting to run that as a Starbase project or a Spire project.
Just like what they do with the boosters, right? Your dilithium booster, your
Yeah, I like that idea.
I would also like to see that you can donate not just to a specific project, but essentially say, here, have 50,000 whatever for the entire fleet or even the entire armada, and whoever is in charge of that fleet or that armada can then assign it to projects as I like.
Well, we kind of
Well,
have that with the Draenor colonies where you can put stuff into the coffers, and I think that's a great way to do it. And then as things come up, one of the fleet admirals or whoever's got the permissions can assign it to a project, which would be great.
That's the only one that does that, right?
Yes, it is the only one that does that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a great idea. The fleets always have a EC bank. Whether or not they've got anything in it's a different story. But that's not really useful for anything because there's very little you can buy with EC. I mean, so maybe we have $1 million in the bank. You can't buy anything for $1 million EC.
$1 million. How cute.
Yeah, really. How quaint. I love the fleets. I would like to see somewhat of a fleet revamp, though.
I would actually like to see a total revamp of the entire fleet system.
Mm-hmm.
Where the fleets are actually getting established by Starfleet, Klingon Empire, whatever, by their respective factions in areas that are contested, so that the fleet has regularly to essentially defend their fleet base to warrant their existence in that area.
That's an amazing thought.
Because, I mean, we have hundreds and thousands of fleets.
Yes,
What
we
are
do.
they for?
Well, they're just an internal thing, but...
Exactly.
Yeah.
What makes them a story thing as well. Makes them the attempt of Starfleet, of Klingons, of the Alliance, whatever, to defend an area, to pin down the timeline, to whatever.
I like that. Let me interrupt for a moment. Good morning, Bread Truck 12. Welcome aboard. Hey, for folks who are listening who are not following us on Twitch, follow us. Gosh darn it. I mean, we'd love you to donate money towards our going to Vegas this year, but I understand that times are tight for everybody. But follows are free, so we'd love some follows. We'd like to crack 400. It's the beginning of August. If we could crack 400 by the end of the month, that would be fantastic. So, give me a free follow. Okay, back to the game here. Captain Darling, the more I think about it, the better that sounds. A random alert, bridge under attack. If you ignore it and you don't go to your bridge to kill the landing party coming through the bridge doors, you lose control of a console for the remainder of the TFO. Holy crud, that sounds fun.
Ooh.
If you do that 3 times, that might nerf ships to the points that makes the TF quite tough. Well, that's okay.
Actually, I don't like it in that way. I don't like it in TFOs. I do like it in story missions, I like it in patrols, but specifically in TFOs,
Well, think of it maybe
a
then
lot
as...
of people run them in a very specific manner that this would not be beneficial for.
Well, maybe do it as a patrol then, where it's an option where you can engage in it if you want to.
Yeah.
Versus a TFO. I think maybe terming it as a TFO might be just the generic for something we'd like to see.
Maybe it's time to make a second thing like TFOs, but with more story content, with more randomization on it, with which you can also solo.
We called that the Foundry.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, the Foundry.
We kind of have the patrols that are kinda like that, but not really.
The patrols are fine. I like the patrol concept. I dislike that the patrols are... Okay, we've got a lot of patrols. They're out there, but when you look at it, it's all the same thing. All they've done is change where it happens. It doesn't forward a story. It just lets you get
like
rewards.
The Draenor Gauntlet and the other one. What is it called? Where it's actually just different ships. But
Pacific Front?
Yeah, the one that we were talking about earlier that Ed just did not care for.
It's just a copy of the copy, right?
It is, yeah, and they weren't kidding anybody about it. They said up front it's just a new skin on a previous TFO, which makes me wonder why they did it.
I think they did it in order to test how they could revamp the TFO. But in that case, they should have completed the test, announced it as a test, and then removed whichever one didn't work. or works less well.
Yeah, I like the other one better.
I'm particularly annoyed about that in the Ranur one, I think it is, where the engineers create that if the engineers activate the satellites in the last stage, they create that huge barrier that essentially blocks you from doing anything.
Yeah.
That is so freaking annoying.
All right, get
Yeah.
rid of or change that so that the engineers actually do something
Make
that's
it engineering.
beneficial.
Make it. Please give them the standard shield or hull repair shuttles instead,
That's a good one. Yeah, there's
or healing beam or whatever, something like that.
Make the satellite shoot an Obsidian beam or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, something that buffs, repairs, or heals.
Yeah.
Or restore shields or something.
I would like to see a better healing system than we currently have for ground and ship.
Don't really have one.
We don't really have one, yeah.
Self-healing, sure, but not healing others.
Yeah, I would like to see both. I mean, there's a couple. There's the protomatter. That's one, and
On ground, there's a lot of effects that you could use to heal. The problem on ground is that by the time you actually selected the target that currently needs healing, activate the ability that you need to use in order to heal them, they are already dead.
Yeah.
Without the ability to automate heals on ground, you can't heal other people on ground. It simply doesn't work. The only thing you can do is essentially preemptively apply heal over time to someone, hope that it helps.
Yeah, with the healing being one of the endeavors that comes up often enough, it would be nice to have some extra options and better ways to do it. And also, it does encourage better team play, when you've got the ability to heal others.
Or you can put down a medical generator and hope they stand in it.
Yeah, what I like to do is simply pick the Parvan healing crystal and put it on a hotkey and simply spam it every time it comes up, and it'll heal some. I heal myself a bit more. I'm using the local wrist device, and that helps that healing endeavor.
Well, when we're doing advanced and elite, you know how you've got your regenerators, critical, minor, and major? It would be nice to be able to use it on somebody else as well as on yourself.
Yeah. Essentially walk up to them and use it as a device or something from inventory.
Here, you're hurt. Boom, you're healed. Though every now and then somebody's like, no, I want to see how much damage I can take. But you're endangering our mission by doing that, you idiot. I get it, but come on.
Yeah. What I would really like to see actually for the minor change that are actually easily implemented would definitely be the something like a visuals tab on the character sheet for the captain. Where can pick standard emote for use my communicator, standard emote for which tricorder do I use, which communicator do I use if I actually use the communicator emote. Do I tap my wrist or do I tap my combat or do I put out a tricorder? A communicator.
So you want
which GFX do I use for beaming out? For some of those, an option to select.
So not so much as an emote, but as a standard effect.
Essentially, for example, I got a Discovery captain, and whenever I beam out, I pick the Discovery communicator, talk into it, put it away, and beam with a Discovery effect. And being able to say, okay, instead of the Discovery communicator, please use the TOS communicator. Or please, instead of using the Discovery beam out effect, please use the Borg beam out effect, assuming I'm on a Borg ship, and can therefore use it, or something like that. Or instead of using the pull-out communicator and put it away, then beam, tap my combat and beam. Or tap my wrist and beam.
That's kind of integral to the design of the character for that arc, though, isn't it? Or is
Not really.
Oh, okay.
It's integral during the tutorial. But unlocking that option after the tutorial wouldn't harm that in any way.
Okay.
Yeah, once it comes into the modern era, yeah, that makes sense.
The modern era.
Because, I mean, come on, if I came from 500 years ago or 200 years ago or whatever it is, and come to the now, why would I still use a 200-year-old technology?
So that's
why
a
would
good
I?
point. That's a really good point. I realize it's to keep you in character, but no, you definitely upgrade. I mean, how many of us?
I mean, I'm using a different ship.
Good point. Good point. Huh, interesting. I know something that everybody has mentioned is having storage space for either vanity equipment or for the pets, because that sucks up a huge amount of your storage space.
I simply discard them, reclaim them whenever I need them.
Okay. But you can't always do that with pets. I mean, some pets are awarded as prizes and they're
Yeah.
not reclaimable. And then you have
Yeah,
to
in
get down.
that case,
You have to get really, kind of hardcore. Do you take your pet over to the pet rescue center and hope that somebody
That's
else
one.
will adopt them? You can't just abandon them. You can't just throw them out the airlock.
Well, you can.
Yeah, but not if you're a good person.
Oh,
we are the Federation. We condone genocide and erasing people from history.
Yeah,
we are the
but-
good people.
But we don't
I
kill
mean,
the pets.
if no one knows about it,
If no one sees
just
you throw
raise
the
from-
E-post
just
in the
raise from
airlock,
time,
does
never
it
happened.
count? Yes,
Just erase your pet from time. It never happened.
just
So you
rem-
haven't killed it.
just remember how Kirk reacted when he thought that Scotty had thrown the tribbles out the airlock. You just didn't beam him into space, did you? Oh, no, Captain. I gave him a good home. Give him to the Klingons. There'll be no tribble at all. Can't craft
Yeah.
melee weapons. You know, Pacheka, that is an awesome comment. You cannot craft melee weapons. I would
That would be
love to
kinda
craft more low-level
Yeah.
stuff so I can upgrade it and not
I would
craft.
actually love if the entire crafting system got unlocked so that everything is craftable, even if, say, the reputation stuff, you get a blueprint that unlocks one crafting pass of the item, instead of getting the item.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely do that. You could make crafting where you have to go out and buy a blueprint, which is actually the old way they did that. Hey, I saw that somebody just followed us. Thank you very much. And of course, I don't have my screen set up for it. I'm sorry, Pi. Pi's going to be mad at me. I don't have my screen set up right. So whoever just followed us, thank you so much. There we go. Okay, now we're back to where we are. I had it switched out because I was working on something last night and needed the screen blinked out again.
Cecilia Workshop.
Yes. Oh, Cecilia, thank you. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, I'd love to see a revamping of the crafting system. I love crafting. I would love to craft more low-level stuff. I'd love to craft more unique weapons. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of money, really. If it's going to cost me the same amount into lithium and whatever else it's going to cost me, fine. Oh, Captain Darwin,
Maybe
thank
maybe
you for
you
the
could
follow.
also touch more for also having to buy the blueprint first.
I'm happy to do that too.
Yeah. What I would, however, like is if that would then allow a lot of the items to be no longer character or account bound. If you craft it, it's sellable. That's essentially how I would like to see the swap between bound stuff and not bound stuff. Make the blueprints that you get from reputation system, they can be bound, I don't mind. But once you craft the item, it should be sellable.
Hey, Paragon, Duffy, thank you for the subscription.
not a problem.
Why can't the KDF start with melee in terms of what, Pacheca?
They do.
I was going to say, don't we get...
Oh. No, with the revamp, I don't think they do anymore.
Yeah, they don't. They get a pistol.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Yep.
Of course, they're dirt cheap. I mean, I picked up a batleth for like 2,000 EC because I had to do
Yeah,
physical...
but when you have 0 credits, it's not that cheap.
Yeah, it doesn't take anything to
True.
get to get 1,000 EC. Come on. Do a mission, a couple of drops, stop in at Kronos, dump everything off at the nice vendor lady.
By the time you have a couple drops, you already picked up a melee weapon.
Probably.
Yeah, getting a little bit of EC isn't as bad. I will say, when I first started playing this, I'm like, oh, how do you guys make money? Well, you take all the drops and you sell them. That sounds like work.
Yeah, I really wish you would actually start with, say, 10,000 EC,
That's
just so you
thought.
can actually buy something.
I'd say that if you're in the fleet, we should do that, but you can't join the fleet right away, can you? Or if they change that, can you join the fleet from the get-go now?
Only after the tutorial. You have to be in the full game, if you want to call it that.
Well, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay, we need melee weapons for the KDF. Of course, they don't give you melee weapons for the Fed, so it's kind of equivalence there.
Yeah, but
Oh,
why?
just a lurper, I think it is. Eventually you can pick up.
Yeah, just give the Klingons a replicator recipe for a dagger.
Yeah, but they can't do any R&D at the beginning.
A replicator recipe.
Replicate a recipe. Okay. Let them replicate one thing.
That just a simple common or even standard issue knife.
Dagger.
Just
yeah.
like just like you can replicate the standard issue Federation phaser. I think you can at least.
That would make sense. Yep.
Okay, that's a really good point. I wasn't aware that you couldn't do that, but
If you can find the KDF exchange, I agree with her.
what? It's easy to find the KDF exchange.
If you know Kronos.
Yes, if you know
as a new
Kronos.
player, holy smokes.
It's
Yeah,
that
Kronos is a
big.
mess.
Well, yeah.
It's
don't
not
like
as
that
near,
you-
It's not near as bad as the Dyson Sphere, but it's a mess.
Oh God, Dyson Sphere, please. Yeah, well, I'll be honest. I was a noob and couldn't find anything on ESD, and that was the old ESD that was a bit less confusing than new ESD.
I mean, the old ESD was essentially Big Circle.
Yep.
Just go around until you find it.
Exactly.
Just like DS9.
DS9.
No, PS9 also has elevation.
DS9. There's nothing up on the second level, thank goodness.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
but I think there actually was a couple things up in the second level on the old ESD. I think you had to take the lift to the admin's office, for example.
I know you do on some of the star bases. Is that still true? Right
Yeah,
now,
I think it is on the not the Halloween episodes.
Sierra 39, I think you do.
Yeah.
hold on. You get a free energy whip. If I made a Ferengi character, I don't think I got a free energy whip.
Oh, he's saying you should get the free energy whip.
Oh, I will take a look. I'll see if I do.
And for the kitties, you get a free yarn.
No, they won't let us have the yarn because we'd never leave. We would just stay there going, ooh, ooh, yarn! And we'd never have gotten into space. There is no yarn on that planet. Which,
Some Catmint.
Either kitty planet.
well, the name of the kitty planet could be Ferris or Faras because the Farasans came from there. It could also be a number of other planets because there's a really long and interesting story behind the kitties. Because they came from the animated series.
I really
Yes.
wish they would bring all the smaller factions more into focus of the game. Give them a home planet. Give them some relevance in the storylines.
And do something with Andoria.
Yes, that was what I was going to say.
Yeah, and with Vulcan.
Vulcan, Andoria, and Tellarite were the three of the four main
Yeah,
cultures,
the
species that
space
were...
dwarfs, the space elves, and the space orcs.
And they were all involved in the formation of the Federation, and yet those three planets, we never see Tellarite or Tellar as a planet, and Vulcan and is just that
Vulcan
one
only
area,
appears once.
and Andor is even less than that.
Actually, Endor is technically the Federation internal PvP scene.
Yeah, but it doesn't work.
I mean, you can go down there to not do the battle with your opponents. I would love to see.
Although, they could stick the ice fishing there permanently.
That's
But
interesting.
probably not with the
Just
red
saying.
fishes.
Back
Yeah,
in the
but
days,
please
you
don't do
only
the red
came to
fishes.
Lifers
back in the
get...
days, you only
Go ahead.
back in the days you only came to Andoria to get the commodities to build your fleet, right?
Yeah, pretty much. By the
Or
way, you can...
supposedly PvP, but the PvP section never worked in there.
Yeah, I know, and I would love to see that come back. Why not playable Deltans to counter female Orions? Okay. Playable Deltans, yes. I mean,
Okay.
they don't have anything that's significantly physically different from humans, so it couldn't be that difficult. Andoria mission thing was disappointing. I was quite new, thought it was a PvP place. Nothing wandered everywhere, just people shouting. Yeah, quite.
Yeah.
Ushan!
And Omega particles.
Yeah, but omega particles are for what, 6 weeks?
And they're everywhere.
But the problem is they're not everywhere on Andor. There's like one of them, and you have to spend a lot of time running to find that one.
And when you're 2 meters away, it disappears.
Yeah.
And goes another boat. And then you
It's, yeah.
Do the leg kick.
Just use your riser power board.
Or
use
your
it as a
floater.
snowboard.
Snowboards! That's what we need for the winter event. Snowboards! Think about it.
And please move it to Andoria.
Yeah, that'll work. It gives us lots of room to go snowboarding.
I realize
Joining
there's...
gateway at the captain's table to take you to any transport. That actually wouldn't be too terrible.
I would never go to the captain's table.
I've been there once.
I've been there once, too. It's just, okay. I got the
Hey.
idea.
You look around and go, what's the point of this again? Okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah, the only thing they'd have to change would be they'd have to change the, for an area for snowboards.
Do the robot.
But, you know, get rid of the tides of ice, which I don't like, make it a little bit larger map. And then we could do snowboarding.
Yeah.
I actually like the Tides of Ice.
Okay, we'd have to expand it someplace. We need some hills to do it.
I mean, essentially the entire village of the gingerbread man. They are in the middle of the valley. Just add a couple slopes to that.
They could certainly expand the map. Over where they've got the snowman army, there's not a lot going on over there. We could put it in over there.
I mean, the snowboarding could be in between the attacks.
Yeah. There's a couple of nice hills there. You could just kind of expand on there.
Do the side step.
Spacesuit battle.
Yeah, there we go. We do a ground mission in space. So we're in space, but you have to wear your EV suits.
Oh, do you really want that wonky EV suit control thingy when you're actually facing something in space?
What wonky EV suit control? Not the jetpack thing. That's horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we can have grav boots and...
Oh, you mean on the surface of something?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought in the middle of the void,
No,
drifting between the wrecks of a fleet or something.
Are you all
Oh my
right?
god, that could be fun. That could be so much fun. Think about it. There's been a giant space battle. The ships are destroyed. There's hunks of metal floating around. You have to use your jetpack to get from here to there. And when you get there, you use your grav boots, and then you have to fight it out. Of course, that'd probably drive them nuts because I know the jetpacks are a pain.
Yep. It would give them a
Jet-powered-
reason to actually fix them.
Jet-powered snowboards. You've got it, Captain Darling. That is the way to go. That way we can have the races not just downhill, but uphill as well.
Essentially, the riser power boards, just
Yeah.
on snow.
Just with snow, exactly.
Dance up style.
And then we have surfing on Risa. Yes, yes, because we... For that matter, let's go surfing on the Dranur Beach Colony, too. Patrol junkyards. Didn't we have a mission like that once?
Do the robot.
Or is TFO or an STF something? This may be going
Not-
way back and may just be my
to my knowledge.
imagination. I thought there was a time when you kind of went into a place that was filled with ships and stuff, and it might still be there, and you had to go find the right piece and component and take it somewhere.
Style.
I think there was a mission with Wolf 359 like that, but
That could be the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, Wolf 359 gets underutilized too.
I mean, it's a big fat memorial for
yeah.
less people than we kill in every ISA.
Your hand.
Yeah, there is that.
You know what I would like to see in game?
What?
It's not more the game, but actually during the corona that the like KL and people like that get actually more engaged in the game, like more competitions, more like engaging with the people. I know they have a big community and they're actually a lot involved with the in-game players, but maybe like the
Do the
the Halloween competition they did some time ago as well.
Mhm.
Just I would like to see like more internal competition from them.
Yeah, but I also like to see in that vein, but expanded on it, would be that there would be events like the event campaign we currently have, but with 2 or more sites that can be supported during the event.
I
And
must
then the storyline of the entire STO in the
But
universe depends on the outcome of that event.
It could be
I must
interesting.
admit, I'm getting tired of all these events. You hardly get a break from actually just playing the game.
Yeah, I like Rise as an event because you can take it or leave it.
leg kick.
If you want to do the ship, great. You can zip in and do it in under a minute, and you're done.
Yeah.
And so it can. I mean, I like Ryza, but it's getting to the point sometimes between the endeavors, the events, and the new missions that, and then obviously for my side of it, it becomes a job.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm not doing that.
I think this year they kind of overwhelmed us with the TFO events.
Yeah, I think that's
one
actually
after another.
there's been coming on for a little bit now. It's not just this year. I was thinking about it the other day, but yeah, it's like you get a week off between events, and it's thank goodness. I just wanted to play the game,
Yeah.
so I'm really
I must
happy.
admit,
Go ahead.
I haven't done the T6 yet. I'm still working on the T6, the low buy or the
Yeah.
because I was so tired of locking in every day and then do a TFO and then do another TFO and then
Yeah,
2 days
yeah.
after, 4 days after, you have to do another TFO or 2 patrols. I was just like, give me a break.
Yeah.
Let me just play the game, because you get tired of the game because you have to do this every freaking day.
Well, I'm curious. Maybe they think it's what people want. Maybe some section of the people do want it. I don't know.
In game development, there's a couple concepts, and I think the one that applies to Star Trek Online the most is the fear of missing out.
Oh yes,
Star Trek Online has a
absolutely.
lot of stuff that is designed around, if you haven't been there, then, well, you should have been playing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, very true.
And that's-
I like
Yeah?
I like the idea of the buyout. I just think of course they need to earn money, but I just think it's a bit unfair that in order to get it, you need to use your Sen.
Yeah.
But then again, they need to earn money, right?
Right,
But,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's a business for them.
Double-edged sword. Yeah.
Totally get. Let me go back and see what people are saying here. Da, 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 da. Salvaging skill would be cool. Then in battle, you could click like you do, say, close an anomaly, get salvage from the ships that get destroyed.
Yeah,
Wow.
maybe after the battle, before the map times out, being able to fly around and pick up all the wrecks for extra salvage.
Okay. Hang on, Pacheco said something, and then I'm only seeing part of it. But now it's only on one captain per day. We need to do multiple captains, 2 hours of event. Yeah. No. More missions patrols that don't focus on war. I can get along with that. I know they said it's really hard to do exploring operations because...
We had the Nebula,
Yeah,
if you remember that.
I remember that.
Directly behind the good old Starbase 1, Seoul, where there wasn't an Alpha Quadrant or whatever it is on the other side there. We had a Nebula, and I loved that Nebula.
Well, how would you do exploration?
Um,
That would be engaging for people. I mean, people, comment all the time, I like pew, 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 pew. But what missions and patrols that don't focus on fighting?
in my opinion, there cannot be that many. You can reskin them 1,000 times, and you definitely should. But essentially, it boils down to pass on messages between people that, for whatever reason, can't talk with one another. Bring people or goods from point to point. It can be find someone, a ship got missing. Go through those 5 systems over there, and somewhere in one of them you might find it.
That's
Or find out what happened to it. And if you found it, then of course fix it. Either remove the pirates or fix their broken warp core or whatever. Or find or get the pieces they need to fix their warp core. And then we have possibly weird stuff. There's an anomaly, and now for some reason that planet can no longer be contacted. Analyze the anomaly and find out what's up. and remove the anomaly, or at least bypass it. And a couple of those could be short chains, like 2 or 3 missions in a row. And after each segment, you essentially have an RNG system that picks the next part.
Let me digress for a moment. I'm thinking back to some of the episodes of the game, or of the series, that have not been pew-pew. And if you go back, most of them weren't pew-pew. They were stories. But that's because it was heavily involved with the characters that we knew. But spy missions, you need to go in and meet with so-and-so, and you have to figure a way to sneak into a place without doing the pew-pew, and you have to figure out a way to do the meeting, and maybe to get the person out, or smuggle out the explosives that are going to be used in something, where you have to use some level of skills, puzzle solving, and game that aren't inherently pew-pew-pew-pew-pew. Yeah,
including possibly the stealth system that is currently highly underutilized.
Yeah, Undine Assault is the one Is it Undine Assault that I'm thinking of? No, it's the other one. It's the
one in Beijing where you look for the Undine?
Yeah, where you have to question people. That's starting to go in a direction, Undine Infiltration. That actually isn't bad if they were to take that and put it down as a patrol type versus a TFO maybe, because I think the big issue with Undine Infiltration is that so many people go in and they just shoot the crap out of everything. So then you feel very much, okay, we've got to try and figure this out. We've got to do all 6 of these or 10 of these without screwing it up. Well, take the time frame out of there. Make it just a solo patrol where you have to go in, find the person, and maybe have it be a map where there are multiple ways of getting them out, not all at the same time, and you have to figure it out without having to shoot your way out.
Yeah, I think the big issue that's currently missing, or the big part that's currently missing to make exploration really interesting, is to provide multiple ways of solving an objective.
Yeah.
Not just one way. You have one pass through this map. You can't get lost, you can't do anything else. Versus you have 2 or 3 ways, and if you go that way, you need to do pew-pew. If you go that way, you need to sneak. If you go that way, then you need to talk with people.
That would be
or
fun.
Whatever.
That would be fun. Captain Darling
and
says...
on top of that, please add the option to fail.
Yeah, we have no options to fail, and I know that ticks off a lot of people, but you learn sometimes by failing.
Maybe not for TFOs, but definitely for exploration.
Yeah,
you need danger. You need the option for loss in order to have a victory in an exploration scenario.
In most of these, we don't have the option for loss except in Elite. You can't royally
even
screw
there,
up.
it's... Yeah, you still get stuff.
Again, if they put in that kind of mechanism, I would wish that you could actually replay the TFO afterwards.
That would be interesting. Captain Darling says, how about being able to raid fleet headquarters of the opposite factions and after a 24-hour war declaration, so the defending fleet has to get people inside their instance ready to defend. Oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be fun.
It would be fun. I don't think people would appreciate having their fleets raided, but...
the question is, what will be the consequence of not defending?
I know they can't do this on ESD or Kronos. They can't bring in Federation or KDF tunes. But on the other hand, maybe there's something there that they could wear a holographic disguise or something. I know we've done it on other missions.
They could do it with the fleet starbases.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah, the question really is, what happens if that fleet doesn't defend?
Yeah, that you have to figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that.
If the consequence is too small, no one will defend because who cares? If the consequence is too harsh, then a lot of fleets will simply fold under the pressure.
Yeah.
No access to fleet stores for 24 hours.
Ow.
That would fold a lot of fleets.
Yeah. But
I'm just saying it's an option.
Yeah, but let's say we take it away from being the individual fleets here, or fleets who are interested in doing it and have to decide amongst themselves if they want to do it. But think about turning that into a almost a TFO or a patrol setting of some sort.
Random fleet?
Yeah. It could be fun. Or better yet, have the rewards be coming from an external source rather than from, you raid them and you get to take away all their goodies, or they lose all their goodies. Have the reward to you be the same.
Yeah, the problem is either then you're not actually raiding a specific fleet.
Mm-hmm.
You just go on a raid a fleet style TFO, essentially, or patrol, but it doesn't have any effect on a fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Which could be fun, but it would essentially just be another pew-pew session.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of things away from the pew-pew, as you guys have been thinking of as well.
Yeah.
There's got to be a lot of interesting things here. I love mostly the ideas about R&D, exploration, some of the ground patrols, some of the really inventive ground patrols, and certainly adding Kraken to Ryza would be awesome. Nanovs, river pigs on Ryza, taking over.
Crabs. Have you ever seen a beach take over by crabs?
I've seen crabs. I've never seen them not on my dinner plate. How's that?
There's a couple nations and cities where seasonally there is millions of crabs in the entire city.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stop crashing.
You know what I would really like? And I know this sounds weird. Oops, I'm on the wrong side here. You know how there's this massive hotel over here?
You can't do anything with it?
Yeah, we can't do anything like it. I would like to be able to go in, rent a room, and be able to then go up to my room. Think about it. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know I could land there, but I can. So it cost me a little bit of money.
Essentially arrive, check in, get you set up in your room, and then visit the area.
Right, so here I am.
Like you would normally on a vacation.
The
Exactly.
roleplay community would like that too.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, the RPG gets pretty intense here. Not so much during the season, but you come here out of season and wowzers.
Yeah, you see some very interesting things for sure. Yeah.
Fleet timeshare.
That's one way to phrase it.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is change one of these sets of doors here make it into elevator doors. And so they don't actually have to make the map contiguous with this. All they have to do is make a generic hallway with rooms.
Yeah, they can just do a instance room or whatever, like
Yeah, like the bridges.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially, shuttle bridge light.
Yeah, where you can invite players you want to have in there, and
Yeah, invite player to your bedroom, so to speak, to your hotel room.
Oh, I can just imagine where that would end.
Yeah,
Lots of
exactly.
fun for a
where
lot
it
of
would end.
people.
Lots of fun for a lot of people, but they just do it in the, over in the hills, and they hide in the caves and do it. So they're already there. They're already being out there. But wouldn't that be bizarre but fun?
walk into a room and see someone doing push-ups on the bed. I'm leaving. See
No,
ya.
no, everybody could have their own. It wouldn't take that much. I don't think it would take that much. But you have to pay for it. I mean, this would be just like a hotel. You're going to pay for it. Either EC or maybe you use favors for it.
Maybe finally have a use for GPL.
Ah, GPL! You have to pay for the room with GPL.
That's an idea, Raz.
That is a great idea, because that, I think, is one of the things they haven't done and they need to do it.
Yeah, and say if you pay for 24 hours, and you can extend it multiple times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's use that GPL. It's just sitting there, and the only thing I ever use it for is playing Dabo when it's an Endeavor.
And maybe make it so that when you actually rented a room, you also get access to the local casino and the nightlife aspects of Ryza.
Yeah, we need to build Ryza into something more than just this. I know they won't do that, but yeah, let's get rooms. Sav says, huh? And when you visit, it costs you credits and you get favors when you're on Ryza as a hotel guest. Yeah. Yeah, it shouldn't be that difficult to do. Hi, Shadow Post. How are you today? Nice to see you. We're trying to dream up things that we would like to see in the game. Not just saying the things that are bugged and glitched, but what we'd like to see added. Which there's got to be lots of things. Obviously, we have this last hour, and I can go back and write this all down, but wouldn't that be great to be able to... Hold on, where did that lady just go? Somebody walked up next to me, did something, and she went someplace. She jumped up and she disappeared like she was going into a hotel room. I want a hotel room.
I actually would really like if the NPCs on this map had some kind of patrol routes set up.
Okay.
Not for patrols, but just so they mimic actually having a life cycle that is tied to the day-night cycle of the planet.
Yeah, I love the day-night cycle, but that got phased out. Well, folks,
Yeah,
we're going to
maybe
take...
have a couple of people come down from their rooms in the morning, lay down on the beach, play in the sand, go back for dinner, go out for...
We need restaurants. We need better restaurants, not just these cafe things, but I want to go sit down with my fleet and have a decent meal. We've got all the setups. Give me
with the
bartenders,
waitress actually
waiters.
moving around and delivering the stuff.
Yes, exactly. Wouldn't that be fun? And we'll pay for the privilege. Gosh knows, we'll pay for the privilege. Hey, we're going to take a real quick break here because I'm going to go get some more water. We're going to be back at 1 o'clock with My Gun's Bigger Than Your Gun. So stick with us, and we will be right back. And yeah, you get to participate in My Gun's Bigger Than Your Gun. Be right back.
Possibilities. I have to pay 8,000 cents to get it account-wide unlocked.
But honestly,
Yep.
you don't want it.
Sorry?
I don't want it. They were unimpressive, but other than yeah.
I
I'm going to interrupt here. We're back on the air. So hi everybody.
Oh.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello. We were going to play a game. We're going to play an awesome game.
Oh, okay.
We are going to play My Gun's Bigger Than Your Gun. Now I have to go find all the guns. I just have to find where we put all the guns. In the lounge? No, we didn't put them in the lounge.
Sorry for asking, but what is my gun is bigger than your gun?
It's a game?
The
Yeah,
title didn't give it away.
Okay, so what it is this is something that we have actually played at Star Trek conventions. They did a competition between the Mirror Universe, I think it was Mirror Universe female characters, and what they did is they put up, two characters. Let's say Mirror Hoshi and Mirror Kira. And people would talk about the two characters for a couple of minutes, discuss, why they were awesome, why they were terrible. And then they did an audience vote. We prefer this one over that one. Okay. And they went on for a few minutes and picked another two and went on and picked another two. And at the end, we now have from the original, let's say 16, we have 8 winners. Those 8 competed. We have 4 winners. Those 4 competed. We have 2 winners. And the last one to win was the ultimate female Mirror Universe character. And of course, they picked incorrectly, but that's a different story. They picked, I want to say, thank you, it's bubbly grapefruit water. Yum. But not going to drink beer on a hot day like this because by the time 5 o'clock rolls around, I'd be on the floor going, making myself incomprehensible. So, yeah, I think they came up with Mirror Empress, whatever the heck she was. And it should have, of course, been Mirror Hoshi, because Mirror Hoshi was, like, freaking awesome. So we're going to do the same thing. But rather than my picking out all of the guns, the other day in chat, we were talking about the ones that we think are the most interesting and awesome of the weapons. So we're going to pick out 2 at random from the least. Yeah, it's brackets. These are bracket battles, exactly. We're going to pick out 2, and I will keep a list here of them, but I've got the specs available here so we can chit-chat through them and tell you what we're going for. So let's start with one that I totally do not know, which is the BATD extractor. BATD extractor. An initial is, oh god, I love when that goes. Biological and technological distinctiveness extractor. This Borg device is an equivalent to a compression bolt pistol. It has secondary fire mode that hits a single target with a high damage bolt of energy that disables them briefly and knocks them back. The tertiary palm strike has been replaced with assimilate distinctiveness, which transports the user to target foe and injects them with Borg nanoprobes. Rather than forming a Borg drone when they fall, the nanoprobes simply collect their biological and technological data. This adds a stack of distinctiveness to the user, adding to their max health and energy damage. Stacks cap at 20. At 10 stacks, assimilate distinctiveness also heals the user. At 20 stacks, it gains an area of effect and deals its damage much faster. So that is our first one. I don't know if anyone's played that one. This is a great time to chat about it before we go any further. So, BATD extractor. Has anybody played with it? We'll go for that first.
I haven't played
Never.
with it yet.
I haven't even heard of it.
Really?
Oh,
Wow. I'm just, yeah, that's interesting. Hang on a second here. Let's go see if we can find one or if this is a lockbox or Lobby.
Isn't it part of the?
Kits are usually lockbox, so
So if it's lockbox. Nope, I'm going to say it's not because it's not here. Nope, definitely not on the exchange. This means that
It's a low-buy item.
It's a low-buy item. Let's pull that one up then. I think I've got some low-buy floating around here someplace. Oops, wrong place.
50 low-buy.
50 low-buy. That's it?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Can
cheap.
obtain from the Low-Buy Consortium for 50 low-buy crystal.
That seems kind of cheap.
a lot of the ground weapons are pretty cheap on the low buy store.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a mere 50. Okay, so here's the numbers. 93.5 plasma damage or 233.7 DPS. 5% chance to restore 19.4 health each second and improve damage by 10% for 30 seconds. Plasma damage and knockback. Meh. Nice plasma damage, but meh. And assimilate distinctiveness is the big thing there. Sounds interesting. Character bind on pickup, hence that's why we don't see it there. Now just going
all
from
Lobi
that
weapons do
versus... Go ahead.
I just said all Lobi weapons are bind on pickup.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that's why we don't see a lot of it. Okay, so not getting a lot of feedback on that one. Okay, let's pull a different one. Oh, goodness.
Not a lot of people tend to get Lobi weapons.
Lobi
Yeah,
weapons
it's
can be
the-
awesome. I like Lobi weapons. Oh, that's interesting. There we go. Okay, so let's pick something that's then a little bit better known. The Ferengi Energy Whip. There's nothing like an energy whip for a true Ferengi. Energy whips fell out of favor in the 24th century after the disastrous 4D remastering of Marauder Moe's Menace, a bomb, which will go down in history as the biggest entertainment-related financial disaster in a century. Now, a new generation of Ferengi are returning to the profiteering ways of their ancestors, and with that comes this classic replica of the whip used by Ferengi marauders and explorers for over 400 years, capable of delivering a ranged electrical discharge with a small chance to stun a target or knock them back with a secondary attack of an electrical impulse designed to stun the target. The energy whip will snap into action at the slightest touch. Keep your profits safe and your enemies at range.
It was replaced by an A-bomb? That makes sense.
I think that's a financial bomb, not an A-bomb.
Okay.
A
I would say
fighting
that's
bomb. It's like,
that's quite a leap going from a whip to an A-bomb.
Yeah.
yeah. Even though the whip does shoot energy, which it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Still.
Well, you remember it was in the first Ferengi episode on TNG. That
Yeah.
horrible episode, but yes, it was on TNG. And I think that's one of the rare times we saw the energy whip.
I think it's the only time we saw the energy whip, but
I can't think of another one, but that's not entirely possible that I missed one. What's the rubric for judgment? It's, hey, that sounds cool, or gee, that sounds stupid. If you've got numbers and you've used these weapons and you want to say, yeah, this one's totally awesome, I've used that, it's really great. Obviously, the BATD versus the energy whip, nobody's heard of the BATD. I think Frost brought that one up.
I've used the energy whip.
Oh.
I've used the energy whip.
It's all right. Yeah, it wouldn't be my first choice for a weapon, anyways.
Russell says, I love the BATD concept. Yeah, it is an awesome concept. All right, folks, we're going to vote. We're going to vote between BATD and Energy Whip.
I've never used either of them, so
Pardon?
I've never used either of them.
You still get to
so-
vote. Russell says BATD. We got one vote for that.
I'll vote for the energy whip.
Okay, we got one vote
Yeah,
for
me
that.
too. Energy whip as well.
Okay. Shadow Poet says BATD. Okay, we got a tie going here.
Energy whip.
Energy Whip from DT.
Gotta make all the BDSM fans happy.
No mere Sparkin Whip is going to beat the Infinite Self Booster. It is at the moment, Russell. Yeah, I'm not going to create a poll for each one of these. Pacheco has voted BATD.
Because the energy whip is canon.
Okay, if it's up to me, if I'm the seventh vote here, I'm going BATD. It just sounds freaking awesome. Might be stupid as heck. No, I've resolved the ones. Okay, we are going on. Let's pick one that everybody knows. We're going to go with a phaser full auto rifle. Phaser full auto rifle. Phaser rifle has a unique primary fire that cycles between 1, 2, and then 3 bolts fired at a single target. Full auto rifles have a secondary fire mode that releases a torrent of energy bolts that deal damage to several targets in front of you. Phaser ground weapons have a chance to stun targets. Let's assume for the sake of argument here that we're going to stick with the equivalent level of, let's call it a Mark 12, so we're not dealing with something at Epic. So everybody's fairly familiar with phaser full auto rifle. Is this something we don't know?
Are we talking the Discovery one, or the...
No, it does not
Lobi-
specify the Discovery one in this one. It just says phaser full auto rifle.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know you accidentally in your weapons forgot that one a couple of times. I reminded you, but that's what I was asking. Okay, just regular full auto rifle.
Mm-hmm.
That's full auto rifles are great, except when you end up with one thing.
What?
when you're fighting Borg. They adapt faster.
Yeah.
They adapt faster to anything that the miniguns, the full auto rifles, because more shots. Otherwise, it's pretty much dead.
Azul says he thinks Frost meant the Discovery one, but
I meant the Discovery one, which if it was a Discovery one,
okay, then we can make this the Discovery one.
okay, if it was if it's the Disco full auto rifle from the Lobby store, that thing. I use the mission one that is just the renamed version. That thing is the most lethal.
Oh, yeah.
That thing is just that thing murdered. That's a murder gun.
And when they're doing all the Pablo dissensions, it murders Terrans pretty quick.
Yeah.
Always a good thing. Always a good thing to murder your Terrans.
You see me use that weapon. It's just things die. This is a weapon. I'm gonna say this is a weapon that comes from the good old days when which is technically
when men were men and phasers were phasers.
Exactly.
Exactly. When phasers just murdered the hell out of things.
Well, then let's give you some competition.
All right.
Which is going to be the plasma wide beam rifle.
It's also a nice weapon.
It's a nice weapon. Plasma wide beam rifle is a ground weapon. Wide beam rifles have a secondary fire mode that projects a field of energy that damages several targets in front of the player. Plasma ground weapons have a chance to apply a weak plasma damage over time effect. And again, we'll pretend we're looking at a Mark 15 purple. Sorry, Mark 12 purple. Nothing.
Mark 12.
Mark 12
just straight
purple.
out of the box.
Yep, straight out of the box weapons. No modifiers. Right. So we're not talking about.
These are two very beautiful weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And both. I mean, there's not a lot. We have the big wide beam effect versus the big spray fire like a machine gun effect.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
they're both quite effective against multiple targets, which is nice.
Yeah, they are. Visually, this one, and they both are kind of. There's no real, unlike our last competition, there's no real big difference in how the weapons work, their roles. I'm going with that. I have to go on the visuals, and that Discovery auto rifle. That thing just looks evil. It looks like a big evil weapon of death.
Okay, let's vote for the big evil weapon of death, the Discovery full auto rifle, or
Disco.
the plasma. Hang on, or the plasma wide beam rifle. I know that DT has voted Disco. Everybody else, give me your vote. Which one do you like better? Disco.
Disco.
Well, thank you, whoever did current poll. Pick your gun. Thank you. Wow. Hey, thank you. Somebody out there is technologically capable, which I am not. I'm not going to type that quickly.
I'm guessing that was Pi.
Was that you?
Oh, me? Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
That's me.
He's the only one who should be able to do that.
Or DT.
Or DT. Come on, let's see some votes. We've
We've
got 3 votes so far for the phaser full auto rifle. Or refile, but that's a different thing. Apparently it's going to be the Discovery, so let's go on to the Disco. Has won that race. All right, got a couple more here.
Run away.
So let's go to...
Are we done with the poll?
We're done with that poll. We have 2 votes for that and nothing else. All right, here we go. Lucari piezoelectric wrist apparatus. Which doesn't have a write-up. That's interesting. Or I have a problem. It's possible I have a problem. That's interesting. You'd think that it would have more information.
Would.
Okay, so there's no clever write-up on this one. I know this is a reputation piece, so not everybody's got it. Okay, this one has got, if I'm going to describe this correctly, 3 functions, correct?
It has 2 fire modes. One is one is a good healing mode. The other one's
Okay, I've got the description now. We had the wrong link. The Lucari have ideals which must not be lost among the conflicts of space. This led their engineers to develop a wrist device that was capable of both reinforcing offensive capabilities and providing a support role if the scenario warrants it. Additionally, due to the electrical output of the device, enemy offensive and supportive electronics can be dispatched quickly and tactically. Ground weapons can be upgraded, yada, 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 yada. Okay. Let's see if there's anything there. Not a better definition of it. Somebody want to give a good description of it better than I can? I know I use it, but I'm terrible at describing it.
Lucari weapon. Okay, yeah. Alright, if you're a comic fan, it's the Widow's Bite. We're gonna say that. Which is the Black Widow weapon. It's a wrist thing, you're throwing lightning. Come on, there's roleplay opportunities, there's freaky. It's a damn good weapon anyway. I've used that in Sumpec, and I've gone deep into Sumpec with that weapon.
So Rasul says, bug zapper with electro healing therapy for you and your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Darling, it's a reputation weapon, and it's a good argument for getting your reputation done. It's an excellent argument for getting your reputation done. All right, so we've got some positive things to say about the piezoelectric, but...
Yeah, I mean, it has a chain lightning, so RF effect.
Mm-hmm.
Its secondary effect is always an RF effect on the target that you're hitting, 3.7 meter radius or something like that. So fairly decent range and decent damage. I'm regularly doing above 1,000 damage with that.
Mm-hmm.
Both modes also have a chance to proc self-healing and shield regen buff on yourself. Over time healing. Essentially, you can keep them up almost half the time. Just thanks to the fire rate. And if you swap to the support mode, then the chain lightning becomes single target, and the RF effect stays an RF effect, but the single target now also has a guaranteed RF effect heal over time applied on yourself and centered around you. So everything around you gets a heal over time. That stacks up to, I think, 10 or 20 times, something like that. And the more it's not a linear stacking. The first one applies a full effect, and everyone afterwards only applies a 10% boost. But it's still up to 20 hit points per second or something like that. And if you use the secondary fire mode while in support mode, it detonates those stacks, those healing over time stacks near you, and converts them into, depending on how large the stack is, a significant instant heal. Up to, I think, 300-400 hit points.
Sweet.
It is one of the better reputation weapons, to be very honest.
It is. I don't.
Yeah, and the two-piece of it boosts all your electric damage by 25%, or your healing by 25%.
Definitely, I like the healing aspect of it.
And the two-piece, you can electric damage. You can stack that with the Sumpec Pulse Wave and the Sumpec Blast Assault.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of options.
Let's give you some competition, though, in terms of perhaps not awesomeness, but effectiveness. The cyclic modulation weapons. Let's use the compression pistol. Cyclic modulation compression pistols are ranged ground weapons available for characters and bridge officers. They fire multiple energy damage bolts at a single target. Their secondary fire hits a single target with a high damage bolt of energy that also repels back from the force of the impact. But what makes this one cool is you can cycle through your energy types. This was a reward during the Borg Resurgence event. So what's happening is you can go from, and if I get the order wrong, Plasma, Phaser, Tetrion, Polaron, AP, did I get them all? Disruptor?
It starts phaser, goes disruptor, goes plasma, and I think it's
Oh, you're right. There it is. Phaser, disruptor, plasma, tet, polaron, AP. Rinse and repeat.
yeah.
Which, let's be honest, is super awesome for fighting the Borg because you get to go through 6 sets of weapons before you have to worry about doing your remodulation.
The other fun point is when you have personal endeavors to do damage on the ground.
It's the only weapon a man needs, or girl needs.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I carry that bulky purse with 6 different weapons when you can have one weapon that does them all.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick with the wrist device.
Yes.
Wrist apparatus.
So we've got the wrist device and cyclic modulation. I can spell. All right. Current poll for biggest gun. We've got Lucari wrist apparatus or cyclic modulation weapon. We need your vote. Thank you, Pi, for putting up the posts or the polls. Ooh, 1 and 1, 2 and 1. Come on, come on, come on. Let's see what we got out there. There's 19 of you. You can all jump in and do this.
Well,
Let's
everybody
get
has
some.
to vote here.
Yeah, we want all 19 people to vote. And by the way, if you have not followed us yet, follow us. We're doing
One of
this.
us,
Hey,
one of us, one of us.
we're throwing a convention for you, and we're not charging you to get in. If you go to a regular convention, it's like $45 a day
Or more.
or more.
We'd-
Well, for basic,
We'd
it's
love
$45 a day.
We'd love to get $45 a day.
Mm.
From each one visitor.
From each one of you,
watching.
yes. We'll send you the bill when the convention's done. Well, so far it looks like the Lucari wrist device is winning because DT's thrown in a vote here. Oh, we got a 3-1. Plus DT's makes it 4-1.
4-1.
5-1 now. 4-1 on the poll and 5-1 with DT. 4-2. Come on, folks. Get your votes in there.
Yeah, I mean,
You like
this
your
is a
weapon?
tough
Great.
one.
You want to tell them it sucks? Tell them it sucks by voting for the other weapon.
Now, you guys, we're not the only ones who can debate here. If you got a point for a weapon,
Yeah, throw it in chat
Tell-
or whatever.
tell
Let us
us.
know. Please. Please, 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 please.
if you
So much
got a
fun.
weapon you want to see, mention it.
Yeah, absolutely. We have time to do a lot of weapons because we're kind of loosely structured for a little bit here. 3 o'clock, though, Scott and Weston will be joining us from Cryptic, or so I'm told. Yesterday went very well. Hopefully my technical savvy will hold through. My waifu will stay strong for a few hours. I only have to be waifu literate for another 4 hours and 38 minutes.
Oh, for those who know, I've been having little computer problems. I think the problem was for some reason even though my memory tested out okay, I think for some reason the computer just can't handle me running 4 slots of memory. So I might have to get better memory,
Ah.
but down the road.
I was wondering what kind of PSU are you running? Because you also said you had a lot of hard drives in it, right?
I got 2 hard drives, a SSD, and I have I believe it is 850 watt.
Okay, that should be enough.
Yeah, and I think we can call this vote.
I think we can call this vote, too. So it's
Eh.
definitely the Lucari that has won this one.
Lucari weaponry. Ooh,
For the win, apparently. All
Yep,
right.
it is a really nice one.
it really is. I
So-
mean, on my Romulan that I'm working on, I gotta go grab some Lucari marks later, but I want the wrist apparatus on her.
I also recommend the shield, but different topic.
Oh, the shield too. I just gotta grind out a lot of stuff on her.
Oops, I'm looking for...
You do know how to make your own pole, right?
No. Could I figure it out? Sure. I'm getting
Yes,
less
it's
stupid.
easy.
I'm
It's
sure it
easy.
is. But you're there and you're doing it, so I'm going to let you keep doing it. I did some other work. I did a bunch of other work. Okay, here we go with a couple of melee-type weapons. The Emperor's Sword. The Emperor's Sword is a masterfully honed weapon that is meant for more than just ceremony. Cutting down enemies in combat with this weapon will inspire those to fight alongside you and not against you, and will help bring out the inner Terran of the wielder. This sword can execute a variety of strikes when used in a combination series, which can cause deep wounds that heavily bleed for a short duration. It is also capable of calling a Terran assault squad to support you in combat for short duration. This is a Lobi weapon. All right, folks.
It also has the He-Man pose.
The He-Man pose?
Yeah, when you call down the assault squad.
The power.
Yep.
I haven't.
Just saying.
Okay,
Now,
this is.
the one thing I don't know here, and somebody can answer this for me, because I'm going to make my little comment here. When you use this weapon as a TAC officer, can you still call your TAC team also?
It's a good
I
question.
don't see why not.
I don't see why not either. I just don't have it on a TAC officer, so I don't know if it's
Me neither.
possible. So, I mean, if so, you're calling an army down.
Captain has been sent. Good to see you.
So, Captain Darling, this isn't a this is you should go buy these weapons. This is a what the heck? Let's talk about some fun things that, I've got one or two of these. I sure as heck don't have all of them. I like my ground weapons. I'm really happy with them, and I wouldn't change it. But at the same
But
time,
come on. Big sword calls down away team versus, let's say, your presidential axe or something. And I know you love your presidential axe.
yes, we're going to play Presidential Axe in just a moment, but we're not going to do it at this particular moment. All right, so we've been talking Emperor's Sword. Totally cool looking. You get to play He-Man with it.
You call your assault team when you're playing He-Man. Come on.
By the power of Grayskull.
By the power of Grayskull, Terrans, kill them.
All right, so the other one is indeed going to be the presidential hand axe because honestly, let's look at my Toon who's currently holding her presidential hand axe. And when we have her walk menacingly, is this what
You
you
mean
want
look
to
at your
see?
loon?
You realize, to be fair, I'm going to have to go find my Toon that has a sword, beam over to where you are, and just look evil. That's it.
I mean, that's just her on a good day and on a bad day. Oh, I can't use it down here on the ground. What a bummer. Maybe I can. Let's move you up here. I don't think I can use it down here. I'm so bummed.
I got check. One of two characters has this, so now I'm.
There you go. So we have light strikes. I can't use it down here because it's a social zone, but I can stalk.
I'm checking right now. If I get a character who has a sword, I'm gonna beam to. I know I got a character who has a sword. I'm gonna beam where you are if I can find it.
All right, so let's talk
Oh,
about
yes, I did. I'm
presidential
going to
hand
rest.
axes because what the heck, they're awesome.
I got one here.
Oh, you go. Presidential hand axe is a melee weapon that deals physical damage. It can be obtained as a reward for completing the measure of morality. Folks, go do the measure of morality just so you can get the freaking presidential hand axe. I cannot tell you how much fun it is, you versus the Borg.
I'm gonna ask you a question. What instance are you in, Mom?
I'm not going to tell you.
know.
I'm in 29, apparently.
Can I get it? Can I get a team invite? I'll jump over there.
Yes, maybe. Let's see. There you are. There you go. So the hand axe is not as maybe awesome, but gosh darn it, if you're using your hand axe and you hit the Emperor's sword, that sword is not going to hold up. Versus if they smack your hand axe with their little wimpy sword of meh, whether they look like He-Man or not, I don't care.
The sword is. It's not a wimpy sword. You're freaking Conan.
Wimpy sword. I play swords all the time. I'm scared of axes. So let's hear pew pew, not pew pew. This is the Emperor's sword versus the presidential hand axe. We need. Oh, come on! The hand axe is awesome. You get to play Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter with it. Who cares about He-Man when you can play Abraham Lincoln?
I'm talking Conan. Come
I'm
on.
talking. I
Conan
am talking one of the
Conan the
best
Barbarian.
movies.
Both are good, but, you know.
Oh, come on. Emperor's sword versus Borg. Pfft.
Emperor's sword versus. Okay, yeah, that's
Meh.
right. Emperor's
Meh.
sword. The name.
Vote for the sword,
Emperor
Harold. Sorry, vote for the
sword.
axe, Harold. Vote for the axe. Yeah. We got to get those axe-loving peoples in there. Yeah. We're going to
gotta
lose.
s-
It would
There we
help
go.
if he
Thank
actually
you.
voted, but yeah.
He voted, yeah. I
The
should vote.
Emperor's sword.
I voted. Now we've got a battle going on. Sword versus axe. Doom, doom, doom. Yes, Abraham Lincoln is the Slayer. Yeah, haven't you seen Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter? The book is much better than the movie, but it's not a bad movie, and the guy's work with the axe is impressive.
But Emperor's sword.
Meh, Emperor's Sword. Meh.
From a pure
I mean,
realistic
you're-
standpoint, I
you're-
agree that
you're
it's
running
X
around-
better,
you're,
but
you're running around with an axe attacking one person at a time.
Yeah, and I'm good with it, too. I don't have to wait for any stinking...
I can attack that same person with my sword, and call an away team to kill everybody else.
Yeah, but I turn mine into hamburger. By myself, I don't need anybody to help me.
No,
Sorry.
I'm still turning people into fish fillets.
I can't do this because it won't let us do it. You know how to wield an axe? It's more dominant weapon than a sword IRL. It is so totally better than a sword. Shadow Post,
yes,
if you
the sword
have...
isn't that great a weapon.
No, but you call an away team, man.
We gotta
And
have...
you boost everyone around you. I mean, in STO, a sword is an awesome weapon. In real life, not so much.
Yeah.
Depending on the sword and the user, but yeah.
Having played sword, yeah, with a good... If you have trained for years and years and years and years with a sword, you can be awesome. But you know what? You don't have to train for years and years and years with an axe. You just smack people.
Oh, is it up to me to decide?
It is up to you, Pie. Yes! Oh!
Pie, you betrayed us.
Do
He
I have
knows
a couple
which...
of bits so I can vote again.
Yeah, I put in. So if you put in a bit, you get an extra vote.
Give me a minute here. No,
X for the win,
Did I look
yeah.
I haven't voted yet.
What do you mean you haven't voted yet?
then vote.
Give me a moment. I'm logging in.
Come on, quick, before he logs in, let's switch it out.
What did I
just
log
end
into?
it, Mom. I could just end it. I
We're-
have power to end it.
We're playing the gun, or the My Gun's Bigger Than Your Gun. All those weapons you help pick out, Frost, we are running a competition. Currently, the competition is between the Emperor's Sword or the Presidential Hand Axe. Yes! And the Hand Axe is winning at the moment, but we're being nice and we're giving DT time to log in. So everybody else who loves axes, who loves Abraham Lincoln, vote for the
Loves
Presidential
Abraham
Hand Axe. Pardon?
Abraham Lincoln?
Like in the movie? Abraham
Oh.
Lincoln, Vampire Hunter?
Yeah.
There,
Oh.
50-50. Ha!
No, someone, we need a ninth vote. We need a ninth vote so somebody can break the tie and restore the justice to the hand axe as it should be.
I'm logging in.
Yeah, but you might vote for the sword. But
The Emperor's sword, man. You call a assault team.
come on, now, is the Emperor's sword from, like, Discovery? Yes! Because it
Now I
can't
can
be...
come in and ruin it again.
Thank you. No, have you logged in yet?
I'm almost there.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I thought that might have been you. Gosh darn it. Quick, we need another vote
Do
for the
not
hand axe.
Do not betray the Empire.
Don't
Join
betray the
us.
presidential hand axe.
Where are you guys?
That president's already dead.
Come on, it's in title here, guys.
The Emperor's
It's in
already
title.
dead.
Presidential.
We're in Ryza 29, but
Emperor.
the contest or the voting is in Twitch.
Oh,
Emperor, come on.
Yes. No, Satalia, stay away if you're
Emperor.
voting for the sword. No, don't bring in people to vote for the sword.
Bring in people to vote for the sword.
Bring in people to vote for the axe.
The sword.
Axe.
Come on.
Axe.
I'm actually interested in buying this sword now.
See, we're converting people. It's the sword.
No, it's not. It's still the hand axe. We're still winning 5-4.
It's almost a shame you can't dual wield them.
Well, one thing you have to remember with a broadsword is you have to have a person who's big enough and strong enough to wield it
absolutely,
because
yeah.
of the time
Same-
it takes to move
right.
that amount of mass.
Same thing with a good size axe.
Yeah, well, this isn't the good size. This
That's
is
why I prefer the sniper rifle.
personally the correct approach. Yeah, the sniper rifle. So here's the correct approach if you're watching this, and I have actually done this in a LARP.
50-50. Thank you, sword people.
We were LARPing, and I had a hand axe, and I did a
For
forward
the-
roll and kicked out the
For
guy's
the
ankle.
Empire.
Oh, the Empire. Then it should be the Empress, shouldn't it? But no.
Depends on
she's...
which empire.
Terran Empire,
Yes! Somebody voted hand axe. Woohoo!
Captain, and somebody voted sword.
Ah! And somebody
someone
voted axe. And sword.
That's all.
Sword.
Axe!
What the?
All right, 2
Somebody
votes for
should
the axe.
Somebody's
No.
using their bits.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Somebody's
Okay.
using their bits. I see it.
Oh,
I've got 3,000. Sorry, I
I
have
can-
3,000 of them.
It's money for the channel. Be happy.
Okay, fine. Vote as much as you want then. Shadow Poet, let me ask you a question. Tish.
I mean,
So
it's only a cent per bit, but whatever.
Hey, you know what? It's money. It helps out.
Exactly.
Oh, we're looking at a tie here. We need a tiebreaker, somebody. Even if it's the wrong tiebreaker and votes for the stupid lady sword. Meh, 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 meh. Please appreciate that
Gee,
I actually have swords.
Me too.
Yeah, I really have swords, and they're back in Chicago. But
Yeah, I
what
got
the,
one right
put it
behind
in
me as
there.
well.
I mean, in all of fiction, well, let's see here. We have how many people wield an axe? Abraham Lincoln. How many people use swords?
Very many.
Historically,
Well, technically,
More people-
Thor now wields an axe, so
Hey, there you go. Technically, more people have wielded axes than will ever wield swords because swords were considered the weapon of the elite and weren't given out to, the average farmers.
See, the weapon of the elite. Be elite. Pick
yeah, but I would like to
sword.
mention that swords were actually rarely used on the battlefield, and were considered as essentially a backup weapon for the battlefield, and even then a bad one.
And axes are kind of mostly the same thing because you tended on battlefield in those days to use
Actually, the axe
spear.
was enlarged and called a halberd and used by the thousands.
The halberd's a polearm.
It's still based on an axe.
It is. The
It's
Goths and
about
Visigoths
to
used
end.
axes, and they were pretty scary, darn straight.
But
Okay, we've got
you
a
have
tie
people with shields and
here.
basically 9-foot long weapons, which is not a presidential hand axe.
Frost contributed 10 bits. Thank you, Frost. But we have a tie. Okay, we're going to take...
Okay, they both move
They're
on.
both going on. Okay, so this will get interesting. This will get interesting. All right, let's go back and see what's coming up next. I should have left that one for the end. That was a good one.
That was actually fun. I would have beamed us to the bridge to have the weapons show up.
Okay, so let's look at the Sphere Builder Anti-Proton Repulsor. An unusual weapon, no doubt. Not one you see very often.
It's still my favorite weapon out of, the non-powerful ones.
Sphere Builder used a small handheld device to generate and fire gravitational distortions at their foes. This repulsor is capable of firing bolts which inflict additional damage against exposed targets and can fire a series of bolts rapidly in a cone. The weapon has a chance to drastically increase your critical chance and critical severity for a short time.
You become Iron Man.
Okay, you become Iron Man. We've had He-Man, we've become Abraham Lincoln, and now we're looking at Iron Man. Okay,
We have the wrist apparatus, which is basically Black Widow.
And Black Widow. Just keeping these things figured out here. So what shall we go against that? That's a good question. Let's throw in another weapon I like. The Advanced Herald AP Beam Projector. Which, if you ever...
Is that the Lobby one?
Yes, this is a
Yeah.
Lobby one. These are both Lobby ones. The Advanced Herald AP Beam Projector is a staff-like ground weapon which fires beams of AP-infused dark matter. The weapon's primary fire will chain to additional nearby targets, while secondary fire will detonate bursts of AP energy at the target. if you have not ever had a nice quiet Sunday morning by yourself, put on your headphones, go down to the Dyson Sphere, get in a situation where you're the only person firing a weapon, and this thing says, ouch, oh, ouch. Seriously, go and listen to it sometime. It's the funniest thing, and I didn't realize it till I was listening one day.
Does somebody want to invite me to
the weapon screams
group
with
on
other
Rise of
people's
29?
pain.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Frost?
Somebody want to invite me to Rise of 29?
Sure. Give me 1 sec here.
I'm on Kaziki.
Okay, 1 sec.
Thank you.
The beam projector weapon that screams with other people's pain.
Yes, I'm going to hurt you. So we're looking at 2 AP weapons. One is playing Iron Man. Let's be honest, though. If you're looking at this AP beam,
the other plays Gandalf.
The other one you're playing Stargate. Come
I
on,
was
it's a
going
staff
to
weapon.
say it's the Stargate weapon. We were playing Stargate versus Iron Man, both being awesome.
But let's start
Or I
the poll.
win.
Should I start the poll?
Legitimately, I'm going to have to go. The other good thing about the staff weapon, you're hitting 3 people every time you shoot, because that weapon will chain off to 2 other targets.
There we go.
Pretty good
Vote is
damage.
gone.
You wipe out groups with that thing quickly.
So, Harold Boomstick, thank you very much, Harold Boomstick. I have my
Hell out of the
boomstick.
Ori. I'm voting for the Ori stick.
The boomstick
Hello,
is
God, the
fun.
Ori.
It makes great sounds.
Actually, you know what? I can make 2 Stargate comparisons. You got the little wrist repulsor, which is like a little little wimpy ring weapon. You got the big staff weapon, blast somebody. Come on.
Yeah, essentially the wrist devices are kind of beefed up the Zenicatel.
Yeah.
All right, we've got some votes going here for Harold Boomstick. So it looks like we're going to take the Harold Boomstick on to the next one.
I see. This votes come up for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 2 more battles before we go on. So let's see. What
You got
else have
one
we
more
got?
for the
Vote,
Harold
or
Boomstick.
Let it run.
Oh, okay. We can. I think we kind of
7
are.
for the boomstick, okay. 7
And
to
nothing
0.
for the sphere, so I think we can go with the boomstick having won that one. So let's go back and look at. I'm sorry?
Okay, can I make a quote before you go?
Yes?
Evil Dead. This is my boomstick.
Yes,
Thank you.
it is.
I'm done.
All right. Okay, so let's have some fun here with the Ba'ul anti-proton weapon, ground, which is a minigun. Ba'ul excuse me. Yeah, this is a wide beam pistol, my bad. Frost, did you want the wide beam pistol or the minigun?
It's a minigun.
Okay, let me see if I can make this one come up.
If there's a weapon you guys want to see, call it out. Let's see what you guys got.
How do you spell that Bahul? Bahul?
B-A...
Apostrophe H-U-L.
No, just UL. B-A
Sorry,
apostrophe
UL,
UL.
my bad, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Ba'ul AP assault miniguns are ranged ground weapons available for characters and bridge officers. They fire a steady stream of short energy damage beams at a single target. Their secondary fire mode unloads a massive barrage of short beams in a narrow cone that can be swept across multiple targets. Both primary and secondary attacks have short charge up to activate. I haven't played this one yet.
All of my bridge officers have it. Nothing stands up to it.
Is it a ground weapon?
Yes, these are all ground weapons. Yeah, we're just fighting ground weapons at the moment. When we get into space, it gets a little bit more.
Does
hard
anyone
to
know
fight.
how much it costs on the exchange at present?
No, but I could find out. Okay, here we go. I'll be right back, folks.
For a limited time only, I will be awarding bonus favors to anyone who comes help me locate temporal artifacts.
I can get there faster than you, McAllister. Yeah.
Yes, you can.
The white beam pistol, or what was it?
Minigun.
The minigun,
The
yeah.
Ba'ul AP, I believe it's AP minigun.
Again,
Yeah, the Ba'ula, another AP fraction, yeah.
Again, this is kind of the same problem with the assault weapons. When you run into Borg, they're going to adapt to that a lot faster, and damage output goes down, but that's
Borg.
yeah.
Let's see. Okay, the minigun's going for about 1.4 million. So not that expensive. Definitely good. Let's see. I'm looking at critical hit damage. So we're looking at 171.4 DPS. Each shot chains to an additional target for 5% of attack damage with a plus 4% critical chance. So not bad. And then the expose attack on the secondary setting is cone AoE AP damage. Again, it chains. Same critical damage. 12-second recharge on the sweep. So that's our first weapon that we're going to look at. But let's give it something fair, something a little bit different. The Sompek Arena Warrior Blast Assault.
Ooh, lightning gun.
Ooh, lightning gun. Yes, absolutely. So we've got Chained Death and the Lightning Gun. The Blast Assault weapon harnesses the power of magnetic induction to allow the user to expel electrical bursts on demand. Furthermore, the weapon is equipped with a small capacitor, which enables the user to periodically draw power from it to produce a regenerative burst to heal the user. Energy Blast Assault weapons have a secondary fire mode that releases a concentrated ball of electrical energy that explodes on contact. This item can be freely upgraded to Mark 12. Further upgrades require tech and lithium as normal. Unless, of course, they don't. So we are dealing now with our Baul AP weapon.
I don't know if you compare those two. I'd have to go with the Sompek lightning gun, but
Yeah.
but I mean, on almost any other metric, I mean, the Bowel minigun is just a brutal assault weapon.
Yeah, part of this always comes down to you never know what you're going to get paired against.
The bonus running.
And then when we get to the next one, it gets it gets interesting because once again, the comparisons go totally off the wall.
Yeah, they do. It's just who knows what the brackets will bring for the next round.
Yeah, that's at some point it gets really
Only
weird.
one vote running? Come on.
Oh, come on, we need more votes than
Oh,
that.
I didn't see the vote.
There's a vote up in Twitch.
Yeah, I was the one messing with it before.
That's okay. We liked the messing with it, Frost. That was pretty funny. Okay, Baul is tying with the Sompek.
It's actually leading by quite a bit.
Now it's going ahead. Wow.
Somebody's spending a lot of...
Yeah.
I would never do that.
Oh, I see that.
Hey, more power to you for doing it.
Yeah, as you
I see it,
chuckle
bro.
away, yeah.
Throw your money at it. We can be bought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see Frost. I see what you're doing.
Yep.
Maybe
I'm concealing
increase the
it
cost
very,
per
very
vote
well.
to 10.
I'm concealing it very well. Like I said, I have 3,000, so you can increase it to 10 if you want.
Looks, though, like it's definitive. It is the Baul. Since there's 21 votes and 21 people, Baul for the win.
And some of us here haven't voted.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to throw 11 votes in there. Okay, we're going to go for the last one of this first bracket of competition, and we're going to start with one of the best weapons in the game, the Replica Thompson submachine gun.
That's not the best weapon. What are you
It's a-
talking about?
For physical
That
damage,
weapon
it's
shoots
fun.
the hell out of everything.
I don't know. No. See,
They
I don't
compared
agree
with
with that
Disco
at all.
Phaser.
Archaic weaponry of this type has seen a curious resurgence via the popularity of a number of holo novels that depict ancient periods of Earth's violent history. This particular weapon has something of a cult following among avid fans of the Dixon Hill holo novel series, which rose to prominence after the publishing of an exposé on the Starfleet career of former captain of the USS Enterprise, Jean-Luc Picard. Though only a replica, the item has, perhaps unwisely, been fully modified to act as a corollary to modern weaponry and may be used effectively in modern combat scenarios. It features multiple fully automatic firing modes. And it does physical damage, plus 2 critical chance, plus 40 critical severity. Wow. And 1 second recharge.
Blows through shields like they're paper.
Blows through Borg like they're paper. It's one of my favorite anti-Borg weapons. So let's talk Thompson submachine guns for just a few minutes here, and then we'll come up with its adversary.
It's a Tommy gun.
It's a Tommy gun, sure.
Enough said.
Fully loaded Tommy gun.
Mm-hmm. It is an awesome physical damage weapon.
It truly is.
It truly is. It is just totally fun. Okay, so everybody's got weapon number one?
This is a weapon that is so broken.
I don't have
that
weapon number one.
they only allow you to have 2 of them on your away team.
But it does allow you to have 2 of them on your away team, which makes it even more fun. All right.
You know what? I could imagine a Gorn running around with 2 Thompson submachine guns.
One in each arm?
One in each arm.
Okay,
No,
but
no, 2 in each arm.
I've picked a really good weapon to oppose this one. And this is going to be really hard for those of us who love this one. Lex throwing knives. Oh, yeah, right? Lex throwing knives.
Damn you for this matchup. Damn you for this matchup. My
For
two
those-
favorite.
I
my
know,
two
I'm going to
favorite
make you
weapons.
decide on these. This is where it gets hard. I love these.
Yeah.
These can take out Herald, whatever they're called, defilers.
Anything.
I have soloed. I with my Jemadar soloed the Borg ground campaign with Lex throwing knives.
I have taken out Zenkethi with Lex
Solo.
throwing knives. They are awesome.
What about the last
You
weapon?
throw it at some. You throw a knife. So these knives are so deadly. You throw them at a target. The target can disintegrate.
It's the replica Thompson submachine gun, the Tommy gun, versus Lex throwing knives. 15 meter range, 1 second to activate. This is fast and it's incredibly accurate. We've got 130.6 physical damage, 100% shield penetration, 2% critical chance, and 20% critical severity. This one's awesome. Throw a fan. The secondary attack is to throw a fan of knives that can hit up to 6 targets in a cone that deal high amount of shield bypassing physical damage. 45-degree cone with an 8-second recharge. Yeah, I know I'm really mean with this one, but so good. So good.
Start
All
the
right,
vote.
folks.
I
Pardon?
think the only reason I might prefer the Tommy gun is range.
The range is a little bit better. It's, 25 meters, I believe? 22 meters?
I'll start the vote.
Okay. Pick your poison. We've got Lex throwing knives versus the Thompson submachine gun. They are both freaking awesome. I don't think there's a loser here. One may get more votes.
There's something to be said about taking out a shuttle with a knife. I'm just saying.
I know. Yes. When you're on that last Romulan liberation mission, and you take out a shuttle with a knife.
Okay, I'm going to have to take the knives with next time we do Dranur Beach Assault.
That's right. Yeah, it was awesome. They work quite effectively against the shuttle there.
Yeah, because they ignore shields.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100% penetration on shields. You cannot adapt to them, so Borgie-wise, they are identical. But there's also the vicarious thrill. I know if you guys remember, oh God, which one was it? First Contact, when Picard gets all about the gun. Yeah, what would he feel like if he was doing the throwing knives? The throwing knives are awesome.
Plus, you have Lek, the person. Why doesn't anything on this ship blow up?
Yes, hang on 1 second. I have that in one of the videos for when the devs are on a little bit later. But yeah, I reran Quark's Lucky 7 this morning just so I could watch that. I've only got 10 votes here, but it looks like Lex winning. And throw in your vote. Throw in your opinion.
Lex throwing knives. Come on, it's
a tough one, right?
This really is the toughest battle for me personally, because these are like my two. I have a character who has Lex throwing knives as his active weapon, and the Tommy gun as his secondary.
I mean, point for the Thompson, you could be total gangster and go like full out, like, you know. Al Capone.
Exactly. You can go. You go in and get you get your elegant tuxedo on, have that in a nice point. You have your mob suit on. You have a Tommy gun. The only thing you're missing is a trench coat and fedora.
Yeah, but
So-
with Lex, the only thing you need is a pair of sunglasses to look awesome.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
So how do you get the Lex throwing knives?
It's in the mission Quark's Lucky 7.
You do Quark's Lucky 7. You get the throwing knives as a mission reward.
Yep.
So you enjoy an awesome mission, and then you get an even better reward.
Yeah.
And I really got to be honest. That's probably the reason why I voted Lex throwing knives a little bit over the top. So
Yeah, same.
It's free. It's easier to get, and they're both just incredibly awesome weapons.
Yeah, back in the day, you could get the Thompson submachine gun as part of the anniversary event, I believe.
Yeah.
Essentially,
But now it's
you would have gotten it in.
Now you got to get out. I believe the Picard.
It's in the
pack,
Picard
which
bundle. Yeah.
you gotta buy
And
it.
at the moment, that's 12,000 Zen. That's a lot of money for a good weapon when you can get
good ship, good weapon, but yeah.
Lex throwing knives be free. All right, so it looks like
Like
Lex
free,
winning. Lex has one. Okay, so we have got our 8 contenders for the next set of the battle.
Let's shuffle them up.
Yep, we gotta shuffle them up, have some fun here.
Yep.
Okay.
Round 2. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, I need somebody to pick a number between 1 and 8.
5.
5. I need somebody to pick a number that isn't 5 between 1 and 8.
7.
Okay, so round 1 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The presidential hand axe versus the Ba'ul weapon. Okay, guys. Presidential hand axe versus the Ba'ul weapon. I know we're not looking at the same thing. So here, these might be really disparate. They may be really awesome, but who knows what we're going to get. But I also kind of think I know which one's going on from here.
Yeah, you know what? Somebody's going to go spend a lot to vote on.
I don't know that you need to spend a lot to vote on this one because the axe versus the Ba'ul weapon. Here we've got the advantage of a lot of DPS being delivered at range versus, while the hand axe is vicarious and I say holds its own as a melee weapon against any other weapon, there's no making up for the fact that you have to get into close quarters to get it to work.
Yeah, but come on. You got a minigun. You got this guy running through minigun fire for an axe to go slam the guy with the gun.
Yeah,
but
from a Lee, I always pick the Mind device anyways.
Well, let's vote then. Let's go between the Ba'ul
Axe
and
is
the
gonna
axe.
I'm gonna.
Let's actually finish the cold wars first.
I gotta go. Yeah, we gotta get the poll up, but I gotta go with. My point is kind of. I'm going to say. Mom, you're going to love me. I'm voting the axe.
Wow.
Style points, man.
Wow. Pi, do you want to change our poll there?
Did we lose Pi?
Maybe. Maybe he wants me to learn how to do this.
Yeah.
Pi,
Apparently, the
you want me to do work. Actually, could have lost internet. We've had some issues.
yeah.
I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I don't want to do work.
Made it in time for the weapon stay. I love it.
Actually, I have to go back. Oh, yeah, I'm in Twitch. Okay, we're going to do this one verbally since Pi has disappeared. Give a
Yeah, we're not gonna
Okay.
play with technology with Mom here.
Yeah, no, we are definitely not. I'm sure I could figure it out. I'm not going to try and sit there. All right, give me a vote if you are in favor of the Ba'ul weapon. Razul votes Ba'ul.
I vote in chat so it's easier to keep track
That's
of.
fine. I appreciate that. It makes life easy. DT said he is voting hand axe. Harold votes hand axe. I've got 3-1. Frost, we need your vote in there. Saab votes axe.
Saab
Wow.
votes axe.
Wow,
Saab.
Saab. Thank you.
Saab, our girl.
Satalia votes axe. Wow.
Yeah,
Frost
vote
votes
axe.
axe. Hold on a moment here.
Frost even voted axe. Oh
Wow,
my
and
god.
it's his weapon.
It's not a fair comparison.
Well, yeah, when you get to round 2, it never gets to be fair. That's why you got to
Yeah.
vote for passion.
Gotta vote your
Stormbreaker?
passion. Gotta
Yeah.
vote your passions.
Gotta vote what you love for. You know, I held out for Hoshi all
Stormbreaker,
the way.
which is Stormbreaker and MCU is an axe. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, axe.
So we got 7-1. Okay, to my amazement, the hand axe is going on to the next round. Whoa. All right, so let me draw a line through some of these so that,
I can't. Hey Mom,
yeah.
to make this kind of fair, since the axe and the sword tied, we're kind of voting axe sword versus.
No, the sword gets its own.
Oh, the sword gets its
Yeah,
own
I
bracket.
give it
Oh
that,
my
yeah.
gosh. All right.
Yeah, okay. I need a number between 1 and 6.
4.
2.
4. Okay, 4 and 2. Okay, this round. Ooh. Harold AP Boomstick versus Lucari Wrist Apparatus.
Okay,
Oh
easy
my
one.
Ooh. Harold Boomstick versus Lucari.
Staff weapon
apparatus.
versus Widow's Bite. Ooh, this is a rough
Should I start a new poll?
Yes, you can start a new poll. This one will be between the Lucari Wrist device and the Harold AP Boomstick.
Okay, so Lucari.
Lucari Bug Zapper versus Boomstick.
Yeah, Lucari Bug Zapper versus Boomstick.
Bug Zapper versus Boomstick.
What? You disagree?
No. Kind of.
I mean, there aren't that many weapons that are effective for DPS and still heal you.
This is a really good point.
Can I start the poll then?
Yeah, you can start the
start
poll. Anytime you're ready there.
We have
Murder, Death, Kill poll. All right, folks. We have got up here in the Murder, Death poll the Lucari Bug Zapper versus the Harold Boomstick. Ooh, 2 votes for the Boomstick. They're tied, folks. 2 for the Bug Zapper, 2 for the Boomstick. If you're out there in Twitchland,
4 and
vote.
4.
Vote.
The Bug Zapper's jumping ahead.
Ooh, it's really cool.
Oh, Frost
Cheater.
Hey.
Yeah, Frost.
If Frost wants to spend his money on us, we say thank you.
This is my favorite weapon, period, so nobody's going to convince me otherwise.
Thank you!
That's it. Frost is demoted.
No. Okay, so we've got the Lucari Bug Zapper versus the Harold Boomstick. Yeah, Sav, that's okay. You can cheat the same way if you want to. We're not going to say no.
Yes,
Though
that's
it would
one
be-
cheater.
Though it would be interesting to see the vote before he starts.
Yeah, it
Derailing
really would. It really would. I mean, if you're gonna buy the vote, at least wait till the end to buy the vote.
No, he just makes it easier. He says, I have the money to buy this vote. Don't bother. Okay.
Yeah, but it would still be interesting to see which actually is considered the most interesting weapon.
It really would. I mean, the point we're kind of trying to see what everybody says, and it's like, I'm gonna buy the vote.
It's fine. You can buy the vote. All right, let's close that poll pie. 15-6. We'll leave it at that.
I don't
Do
know.
you
how much
remember how
we're
many
doing there.
you bought? How many votes?
I don't know how many I bought, but they can definitely tell
13.
me. 13?
Harold says it's just like real elections.
He's 13, so technically it was 6-2 before the vote got bought.
Yep.
If he wants to give us his money, let him give us his money. Okay,
Mom, I don't mind that. I just want to kind of know the result before the vote gets bought.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I
need
mean, that's-
a number between 1 and 4.
4.
3.
2.
Ooh. Oh, okay, guys.
Musin, pick 3.
Okay, folks, this is between
And he did.
this is between the Emperor's sword and Lex throwing knives.
Sorry, Emperor, you're out.
Sorry, Emperor. Wasn't the sword, but I'm sorry, Lex Knives. Every single battle.
Emperor has been dethroned.
Can I use Emperor's Sword of throwing knives?
Let's just end this Lex Knives. I'm just gonna call it right here. It's Lex Knives, okay?
Lex Knives
Can I use a
versus...
sword as throwing knives?
The Emperor has been stabbed by Lex Knives.
And Lek walks away putting his sunglasses on.
Oh, yeah.
And then he explodes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As the Emperor explodes, that's your
Then he
visual.
stops, gets back, loots the sword, and sells it.
Does anybody say anything aside from Lex Knives? Are there any votes for the Emperor? So Pi doesn't even have to write this up.
Pi doesn't have to rate this one up. I don't.
No, this is throwing knives. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure any votes for the Emperor's sword is going to be out of pity. Nothing better than that.
Yeah,
And the Emperor
poor
doesn't want your
Emperor.
pity. The Emperor's
Emperor's already dead. Let's face it.
the Emperor lays the sword down at Lek. Throw it at me. Come on.
All right, folks. We got one last in this bracket here. We've got the BATD versus the Discovery full auto rifle.
Full auto
Ooh.
rifle.
Yeah.
As much as the ATD is nice, full auto rifle is still the.
Yeah, it's the top DPS gun in the game.
It is lethal death.
Should I start
It
the
is
vote?
lethal
then?
to death.
No, I don't think you need to do a vote on that one. Does anybody say the BATD?
Does anybody say BATD? Let's put it this way, you guys.
I suggested the weapon. I would like to vote it, but compared to the disco, forget it.
Yeah.
That disco gun is. That
It's
disco
BS,
gun.
yeah.
Is just, yeah.
Okay, folks. Now this one we're going to vote on.
Okay.
We're going to the next round. This is the next round. There are 4 weapons here, so just so you know what's up in this bracket.
We are in the semifinals.
But we don't know what the matchup is going to be yet.
You know what? I'm going to make this completely random. Give me a moment here.
Okay.
I'm going to get dice out.
Okay, they have to be 4-sided dice. 'Cause we
Yes,
only
I
have
have
4 numbers.
four-sided dice.
Okay, go
I
grab
play
some.
D&D. I have four-sided dice.
Go grab some 4D.
Caltrops, perfect.
Dun, 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 dun. Four-sided die has been pulled out.
Okay, roll it.
All right, our first number for today. This is completely random, folks. First number is 3. Second number.
Also 3. Missed.
I'll re-roll if it's the same number. Is 4. 3 and 4.
Oh, this one's a gimme. Okay, we've got the
Caltrop is-
presidential hand axe. Pi, put this one in the vote. Presidential hand axe. Create a poll for this one before I put the second one in there.
She wants the poll up.
I want the poll.
Presidential
Oh.
hand axe, and
Versus-
then what?
Lex throwing knives.
Lex Knives. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, Lex.
I would just want to see how badly I go down in defeat because I would vote for Lex Knives.
Mom's going, Lex Knives.
How's everyone?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing well.
Could I start the poll?
Start the poll.
Start.
Let's see
let
how
the
high we can make
slaughter
that number go.
begin.
Stick. Ouch, ouch.
Stick. Ah!
Presidential hand axe versus Lex throwing knives. Come on. Oh, we got 3 votes instantly. 4 votes instantly.
votes instantly.
5.
Really?
Come
You
on.
went to 100? That's kind of...
Yeah.
That's cheating.
That's
Somebody,
fuck,
presidential
man.
axe, yes, somebody's got the right thought, even though, honestly, Lex knives are so much better.
Lex Knives is just so much better.
They are so
It's a fuck.
good.
It's almost too bad you can't just throw the hand axe.
I
can't-
know.
yeah, that'd be- ooh, hold
Too
on.
bad you can't just throw the Emperor's sword as throwing knives.
Well, you
I know.
can, it's just not very
Being able
effective.
to throw a axe like that.
Nah, I'm going to throw my axe or my sword at
fix
you
that
because you're
hatchet.
just not good.
There are throwing axes.
There are throwing axes, yes.
And let's
There
be
are throwing
really
swords.
Yeah, let's be honest. Lex Knives, you throw it at somebody, you've seen them disintegrate.
It is pretty awesome.
You
All
throw it
right.
so hard, turn into blood vapor. Let's
So-
be honest.
Lex throwing knives is going into the final round, but who are they going to compete against? Pi, do you want to close that poll?
Oh, Disco versus Lucari.
Disco versus
Disco.
Lucari is our final one.
Frost, make this fair. Don't buy it already.
Yep, don't buy this one because I want to see who it really is.
Okay, what did you say?
We have the Disco full
iron?
auto
Discovery full auto.
versus
Versus Lucari Buckzipper.
Disco. It's just a gun. Let's be real. It's a powerful gun, but it's just a gun.
Yeah,
It
versus
is
a bug zapper.
it's
But-
absolutely bug matter. Yeah.
The bug zapper that you guys are talking about
Mm-hmm.
has a healing ability.
Yes, exactly.
Has an explosive ability. Has a healing mode.
But
I mean,
the-
Has area of effect healing. Yes.
versus a
Very
gun
nice, Pie.
versus a gun that kills you before they even get a shot off.
I can
Disco
shoot bugs with
phaser
my gun
rifle
perfectly
versus
fine.
the bug zapper. We've got gunpowder versus real power.
Yeah.
I can shoot bugs with my gun. That's no problem.
Ooh.
For
this
me,
one's
the
tight.
versatility of the bug zapper really.
Oh, you're not
Makes
going to
it
let
shine.
me vote more than once?
I
Nope,
won't lie,
nope,
the
we
healing
disabled.
ability is kind of nice on that one.
Yeah.
I rigged it.
Thank you.
You rigged it.
That's cheating.
It's anti-cheating.
I can't buy the vote. That's right. You can't buy the vote.
Come on, we've got some bug zapper voting to be done
Saab is
here.
right. With the right firepower, no healings needed.
That's not true.
Assuming you have sufficiently low numbers of enemies.
We got a tie going
that's
here.
The problem, though. That's the problem. Though. Not everybody is in the same skill level in a particular group.
Yeah.
And your little powerful gun isn't going to protect somebody that's in that same skill level.
Where your
Yep.
this bug zapper can
yeah,
heal.
but actually it is. Because if I shoot the person who's shooting at you, you're not taking damage.
The problem with glass cannon concepts is it only works so long as your damage is overwhelmingly stronger than the durability of whatever you're shooting.
And
The moment that stops being true, you blow up.
And the problem with it being that the healing is that if you have enough people, you can't heal fast enough.
That too, Sav. That too.
Sav, he's talking
Oh,
about the healing
oh,
crystals, I think, not the annoying crystals. We've got a tie, folks.
That's what Pavo crystals are for, yeah.
Yeah, there's two kinds of Pavo crystals, one to annoy Sav and one to heal people.
Right.
And there's also the one to annoy everyone else, the crystal spike.
That too, yeah. Crystal Spike is fun. Folks, we have a tie here. There's 21 of you out there. 21 of you. We need
only
you to...
8 voted. We need
only
some
8
more
votes. I'm holding mine off so I can be a tiebreaker if need be.
What would you vote for? Just vote it. I mean,
No.
Just vote it.
I mean, if I don't need to vote, I won't vote.
Yeah. You're running this. It's kind of...
Yeah, because...
but your opinion also matters.
well, fine.
But I mean, we have the most lethal weapon in the game.
And I
It
still like the bug
definitely is.
zapper better. There's lethality and then there's cool. Ooh. So we're back to a tie, folks. Bug zapper versus auto rifle. Come on, we need your vote. We need to
It is
decide.
surprisingly close. I
is.
would
It
have
is.
expected significantly more people to vote for the disco.
What you could do is get a roll of duct tape and tape the Lucari bug zapper on top of the auto rifle.
There we go, yeah. Secondary fire mode.
That's what we need from the
Secondary-
previous
sec-
conversation. We need to have
Secondary
Star Trek
fire
Online
mode,
duct
battle
tape.
prod.
Okay, folks, we need a deciding vote here because we can't go into the final battle.
We
With,
can't
yeah.
we can't do a 3-way final battle.
You know, we actually can, but that's not fun.
We really could, but
We
yeah.
really could. We need a deciding vote here.
Lucari!
If you haven't voted yet, vote. We need your vote. We need your vote. Hi, Sav.
The disc ice off.
We need your vote. Come on. Up! Bug Zapper got a vote.
Yes. Let's finish the vote quickly.
We'll give it a minute. We'll be fair here.
Okay.
Let's quickly make a couple other Twitch accounts and vote a couple more times for the bug zapper.
All right, let's
Great.
close this and go to the last one. The Bug Zapper has won. To my amazement, it's Bug Zapper in the
But
final
now
round.
it's the Bug Zapper. The main. Oops, it's
The main
6-6 now.
event.
We're tied again.
Okay. Hold on, that's not fair. Now we got to have a 3-way. Okay, we'll have a 3-way.
Okay,
So
folks,
kinky.
the end of the point. It's a 3-way dance.
Okay, Pi, we
The
need to have
disco
a...
assault rifle.
And we
Let
need
me-
everyone to vote on this one. None of
Can
this
I- can-
wussy sitting in the back and not paying attention to stuff.
Can I do the announcer stick here, Mom?
Yeah. Yes, Pi.
All right,
Sorry,
folks,
yes.
we are now in the final battle. It's a three-way dance. We have the Lucari wrist apparatus versus the Disco Assault Rifle versus the King Lex throwing knives. Because we can. There's some points where it's not even
What
a
is
pro.
the legs throwing knives, right?
Lex throwing
Yeah.
knives, disco phaser, auto rifle, and Lucari bug zapper.
I'll get the
The
duct tape.
three-way dance of death is about to begin.
Yeah,
Three enter the arena. Only one is going to walk out.
hey guys, we should do this more often. This is
rigged or not
fun.
rigged?
Not rigged. This has got to be fair.
Okay, so legs throwing knives, Lucari box zapper, and Discovery phaser auto rifle.
Yep.
Lucari bug zapper, phaser, auto rifle, and Lex throwing knives.
Oh,
Seriously. just-
Yeah.
And Sal's
You know what?
comment,
What?
a three-way.
I tried.
Oh my.
I tried to make the question ménage à trois, and I'm not allowed.
Make it
It's almost
Menage a
if-
Troy.
Menage a Troy.
Yeah.
The Menage a Troy has begun.
I'm not allowed.
Oh.
Okay. Three-way dance.
Mm,
Go get the duct tape. Very good. Very good.
Just tape them all together and use them all at once.
Yeah, kinky.
You get
Yeah, we want Star Trek
duct
Online duct
tape.
tape.
Lucari to one hand, use a throwing knife to the other, and use your drone. And use an assault drone for the disco.
Okay, so this
No,
is
no.
it, folks. This is
Okay, I
for
know
the.
I have now decided the most lethal weapon in the game. We have a Lucari bug zapper taped to a disco assault rifle that shoots Lex throwing knives.
There we
Exactly.
go.
I mean, some of us are engineers. It's possible.
We can make it
That's
happen.
true.
There is an engineering solution for every problem.
Exactly. Over-engineer it. Or duct tape it. That's the solution.
Duct tape is a fine solution. Hey, don't
Is
forget
there a
that
Home
in
Depot
about
anywhere?
45 minutes, in theory, Scott and Weston from Cryptic will be joining us for a discussion about cutscenes.
So we'll be jumping over to
So-
Skype and run this.
Do we get a vote?
Yeah, as soon as Pi puts
yeah,
up the...
but it.
We're waiting for a three-way dance pie.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to use three-way dance or
Uh,
ménage à trois.
okay.
They're no fun. Lex throwing knives, Lucari bug zapper, or the disco auto rifle.
Oh, this is going to be a very rough vote. But
Yeah, this is heartbreaking.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Lex has got it by 1 vote. 2 votes. Come on, folks. Vote frequently, vote often.
See, I have to go with the Lex because I.
yeah.
Ooh, but somebody's coming back with that disco phaser rifle.
And I missed the race start. Aww.
Oh, that's where you disappeared. Okay.
This is, I mean,
Come on, we've only got 9 votes out there. There's 21 of you listening. We'll wait till the end of the race, though, so people can vote, since they might be
Yeah,
busy.
but I
And-
missed the start.
folks, if Saw prefers energy weapons personally, yeah, so it's always a good point.
Ooh, we got a tie between Lex and Disco Phaser Auto Rifle. Now let's think about it. The Phaser Auto Rifle is a very high DPS weapon, but it's impersonal.
The highest DPS one, yeah.
But it's
It is the
impersonal. You know, you're not face to face. You're not making a relationship with that other person. You don't know who they are.
You don't have to be face to face either. I mean, but we're talking.
Lex is.
these are-
It's personal. It's between you and your opponent. You look them in the eyes as they disintegrate
one-
when throwing the knife
You
at
are
them.
one with the knife.
I
they
am
are
I
one
prefer
with
to
the
make
knife.
between me and my bug zapper and then simply zap everything.
I
A
haven't
throwing
voted yet.
knife would make a great bayonet. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's
12 voters. 12 people have entered. So far, no one's leaving. Come on, there's 10 more of you out there who have not voted yet. I know the race is still going on.
We would love to have all of you vote on this one
would
because
love to have all of you
this
vote.
is the main event. This is.
This is what it's all about. Superior weapons.
Better living through superior death power.
Well, superior death power is easy. That's disco rifle.
Hey, Jason, did you vote in the voting thing, or is that just a verbal vote?
Oh, I voted in Twitch.
Okay.
Okay, you did hit the vote. But did you... There's a poll at the top of the chat thing, that's why...
Oh.
Yeah, we've got a poll running, so if you're in Twitch, you can vote up there, too.
We're being fancy.
Yeah, we are being fancy. Because we have Pi to let us be fancy, even though we made him miss the beginning of the race.
Oh,
There's
shame,
always
shame.
another race.
Don't forget, once you hit the thing you want to vote for, you have to hit the purple vote button to make it count.
Okay. What purple vote button are we talking
do you see
about?
the poll at the top of the Twitch?
There's a poll, you hit the thing to drag it down, and then you have your... Then you
Okay, are we talking about on Twitch or...
We're talking about
Yeah, on
Twitch.
On
Twitch.
It's in Twitch,
Chat Twitch, yeah.
not in Discord.
Twitch chat, purple thing, pull it down.
Yeah, it says last round, current poll.
There's last arrow, there's a little arrow by it. You click the arrow.
Then it opens up. You have all the 3 options. Pick one, then confirm with a click on the vote button.
Ah, I see it now. There we go.
Yes! Yes.
We
We need stuff to spend channel currency on. What kind of stuff would you like to spend channel currency on, Saab? Let me know, and I will be happy to figure it out.
Custom emotes, because we need a little soft angel.
Saab has a Saab Angel.
I know.
Okay, folks, we have got 13 votes out of 21 of you out there. Come on, are you going to let them override?
The race is over. Time is up.
Okay, folks, time is up, and that is the end of the vote.
The winner of the competition.
Lex
The
throwing
champion.
knives for the
Lex throwing
win.
knives.
Woo! Nice job, everybody. Who would have thunk?
No, I don't think anybody would have thought that one.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That is amazing.
Rigged.
Not rigged. If it was rigged, you rigged it. You put in all your money to get things to go your way.
Well, my weapon got to the end, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Yep.
But still lost.
And then it got 1 vote.
Yeah, mine.
So the result of this, the first point here, the battle begins. I'm going to give you the rundown here. The battle begins. And the people with the disco assault rifle and Lex organized go throw it at the guy with the Lucari bug zapper, and he dies.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right.
That's how it happened.
We're going to
That's how
take
it
a
happened.
super quick. Well, we're going to take a not super quick break here. We're going to put on an interview so everybody can go get something to drink, eat, and we will be back in about 30 minutes to kind of.
Which interview is it?
Pardon?
Which interview is
I
it?
don't know. Which interview would you guys like to hear? I've got lots of them. We already talked with Harold earlier today, but we still have our interview with Frost, our interview with Ed, our interview with Rasul, and our interview with Dano. So which one do we want? Pick a name, any name.
Can I make a vote?
Make a vote.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a vote. And
Okay.
let's make it fun here. Okay, new poll.
Private
I
time
don't know if I like my my interview.
Oh, your interview was great, Frost. I thought yours was one of the more interesting ones we did.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I thought
Keep
everybody's was
beginning
fun.
Rasul. Is that with an S or that's with a C, right? That was C.
Rasszul.
I got
So
both of them.
Frost, Rasul, and who else? Ed?
Ed and Dan.
And Dan. Okay.
Dan, yeah. Ed, Frost, Russell, and
Rigged
Dan.
or not rigged?
Not rigged. Actually, go ahead and
Not
rig it.
rigged?
No, go ahead and
Rig
rig
it,
it.
okay.
Rig it. If somebody wants to give us money, let them give us money.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more vote going on here, folks, for
Okay,
the next
so
interview.
Frost, Rasul, Ed, or Dan?
Right.
Yep.
Rig it to 9,000 bits.
All right, pick your interview. We're going to interview Grandmaster Ed. Woohoo!
1,000 bits. Jesus.
I said 9,000.
Ooh. Wow. Ooh.
Interesting.
Well, I know that one vote didn't come from Dan because he's on the road at the moment.
So how much money did you already make for that?
I have no idea. I put Pi in charge of the finances. Wow, Ed and Frost are tied here. They're all going to go on, I think. If they
Go
don't,
on one way or another. Well,
yeah, it might not all be.
the live interview that somebody wanted to do with me is going to be the interesting one.
Yeah, well, we actually now have so much content for the next couple of hours that we might wind up doing some interviews instead at the 4 o'clock position. So we'll see, because this ran an hour longer than we planned.
Yeah,
which is not bad.
But it was worth it.
It was. That was a blast. Ooh, what? How did Dan get in there? Wow.
Dan's taking the lead.
Wow, Dan O'Mano is taking the lead. That's awesome.
Who's Dan?
Out of nowhere.
Dan is the person who got me into the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sav, you want to be interviewed? We'll interview you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll do a special interview with you.
I've put out so many requests for people to get interviewed, and almost nobody
But it has
accepted.
to be with her
And
voice.
you never
It has to be a
interviewed
voice.
me.
I asked people if they wanted to get interviewed. Only a few people got back to me with ones and stuff. Who's Dan? Dan's the guy who got me into the game. All right, so we're going to listen to an interview with Dan while everybody goes to the bathroom, gets a drink, and comes back, maybe play a little bit of the race.
Should I end it then? Or
You
should we
can
let it
end.
run for?
You can end the contest. We're going to let this run. And I'm going to turn off our mics, and we're going to start this up. Welcome back to the first annual Star Trek Online virtual convention. I'm Mom, and I'm here up at the mezzanine level talking with Captain Bellar.
Hello.
Captain Bellar, what's the name of your ship again?
Of the USS Otago.
The Otago. What's the Otago? Is it a name of something, or did you just make that one up?
The Otago was a World War II Japanese vessel, second of the heavy cruiser Takao class, and the one personally ridden by the Emperor as its shakedown cruise to see how it rode in the water.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I love the names of the ships that people create here. I rarely bothered with naming them, though I have flown indeed the USS Licky Puppy. But there are some utterly brilliant names. Some are historical references like yours. Other people just come up with incredibly clever names. That's one aspect I really enjoy about the game is the creativity of the people that's reflected in the names of their characters, their costumes, their ships. So you're a longtime player.
Yes, though you wouldn't know it from this character only being level 16.
Like a lot of people, you took a little hiatus there.
Yes, and I've gone through and made different characters to explore the content as it comes back in, as they redo different sections. I recently made another Romulan character to go and explore the fun aesthetic of their ships.
Have you seen any of the new ships? The new Romulan ships? Ooh. Okay, fine. I'll let you go explore those on your own, but I'm so glad that we're beginning to see some nice Romulan ships.
Well, I will say that one of the cool things about Star Trek Online, and one of the things that draws me in about Star Trek at large, is the expanded, world, the extra lore, the things that go into it, so that when you show me an Akira class, I know what that is. I know what it does. When you show me a Centaur class, I'm like, oh yeah, I know why this is here. If you show me an Excelsior, I'm like, great, I know why that's still around, even though it's been 140 years since the thing was invented.
I'm always impressed with players like you and people like you who can recognize and identify these ships, because it's not that it's nerdy, but it's just beyond me. I think if I dedicated myself to it, I could do it, but you and others just take to it so easily and bring that aspect of the game into it. So can you tell us a little bit about your history, either with Star Trek or Star Trek Online, or both?
Sure. Actually, I would say that the history that I have with Star Trek Online is an appreciation of my history with Star Trek in general.
Mm-hmm.
As I've said before to many people about Star Trek Online, I think it has a unique ability and opportunity to bring together all of the disparate works of Star Trek, the strange extremes that it's gone to in many different directions, and bring them together with a unified set of writers and planners to make a more engaging experience, to make those same storylines appealing.
Well,
I'm sure, like... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's actually kind of the tagline from the game, be the captain of your own ship, and holy moly, do you get to be the captain of your own ship.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think it takes all of Star Trek and gives you the opportunity to make your Star Trek, as opposed to the Star Trek.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. And for anybody who isn't completely sure about what I mean by that, all I mean is it allows you to personalize your own experience. And I think that that's really cool. Just to cite one example, I'm not a big fan of the new CBS Star Trek Discovery and Picard. I haven't watched them, but they just didn't jump out at me. So, okay, whatever. But when I come back to Star Trek Online, and one of the new missions that I'm dealing with is Ja'ula returning to launch a new attack with this mycelial weapon, I'm like, oh, whoa, this is serious. I have to take this seriously. And these things jump out and are suddenly far more engaging to me because they're about the story and the ship that I'm with.
I understand that completely. That was, when you were saying that, my first thought was, yes, now it's my problem. It's not just on the television.
Yeah, that's a very good way of describing it, I would say.
Have you played both of the new missions?
I have started the first of the two new missions. I got part of the way through it, but as you can imagine, with a level 16 character, it's not exactly easy to plow through.
It's not, and you can certainly team up with somebody who's a higher level, but if you do that, make sure that they let you read through all the dialogue and enjoy it, because it's really good. Really, really good.
It's been pretty engaging so far, even delving into the mycelial space and seeing Ilachi spore people coming around, and I'm like, wait a second, the Ilachi are from the Romulan thing. When the new storyline on STO happened, I got to see them there for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And now suddenly they're worked into being a part of this this retcon into the lore, but it does it in a more integrated, more seamless way. That's why I say it's really fun to have this one team of planners and writers reintegrating all of that lore that's gone in its own different directions from different writers.
I don't disagree with you. Actually, we'll see the Ilachi pop up in the Wasteland arc also, though very briefly. So they're putting them in a little bit more hints and flavors. There's a few other occasions where characters who are more significant later have been kind of retconned back into earlier episodes, and it does make for a more seamless flow of characters and character development.
Fair enough.
I do have to ask you this. Have you played Quark's Lucky 7 yet?
What's Quark's Lucky 7?
Oh, okay, I won't go any further. You have to play Quark's Lucky 7.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of my experience with this game gets marred by my tendency to have ooh, shiny syndrome.
Also to have a real life.
That too.
Yes.
That too.
Yes.
So
So
this
tell
is
me.
pretty much a weekend thing for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. So tell me a little bit about your Star Trek history.
Oh gosh. Well, as you know, I was born into a home of Star Trek primarily. I was raised with The Next Generation, and as I got to be a teenager, I got to see, the original series for the first time in that part of my life, and immediately thought Kirk was the coolest thing since sliced bread. Which I realized was a crushing disappointment for you.
No, not at all. I was never a huge Kirk fan. Not that I disliked him in any way, shape, or form, but definitely Spock and McCoy were much more appealing to me, more interesting characters.
That's a great point. The dynamic of not just Kirk, but Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Scotty, and in the movies, Sulu and Chekhov.
Mm-hmm.
Get a lot more out of these characters as time goes on. And it's very interesting to see how not just the characters, but the actors grew through those roles and began to change and make them their own.
Well,
then, of course...
Go ahead. My bad.
Well, then, of course, I was going to say, we jump into DS9 and Voyager and that kind of territory. And, really, as I was falling out of love with television at large, Enterprise came on the air. And so I didn't really watch it while it was running. But I heard about it and heard about a lot of the disappointments that people have with different sections of it. But as I watched through it, I'm like, this is actually pretty good. This is solid.
Well, let me jump back here for a second. You said that TOS with Kirk became more interesting when it was Kirk, McCoy, Spock, Sulu, Chekhov, and Scotty. So more of the ensemble?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I recognized in TNG. It was, you got more of an ensemble performance that really seemed to make it more enjoyable, while the story was usually focused on Picard and Riker and then the other characters. To some extent, there was always some aspect of the others with them. I think that definitely came to its forte in DS9.
Yes, although DS9 had its own many pitfalls.
Oh, nothing's perfect.
Definitely nothing's perfect. But as has been said, and especially by Chuck over at SF Debris, you have two different approaches in the writing team. People don't like Julian Bashir, what's wrong with this character? People don't like Neelix, what's wrong with people?
I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of Neelix. The gentleman who plays him is a nice person. The character, though, is just... There's a few missions here where you have to deal with Neelix, and there's sometimes that uniform thing of, can't we just shoot Neelix?
Well, I'm sure you could in a lot of Forge or Foundry missions.
Probably, yes. So did you ever play any of the Foundry missions?
I believe that I played one or two, but at that point I was trying to figure out what I was doing with my life and working for other people for the first time. So that
there's a life outside of Star Trek?
Yeah, for some people.
This is so true. So true. So I know your thoughts on Voyager to some extent. Have you played any of the Voyager arcs, the Delta Quadrant arcs in the game?
I do believe that I played them when they came out, but that's been a while, so I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, that actually was a long time ago. I remember playing hooky from work for 2 days so I could get the whole thing completed.
Well, true, and it's fair to say that I haven't done a lot of it, but I do like what they've done. I mean, for one thing, giving Garrett Wong captaincy for a change is nice. I like Harry Kim. I thought he was way underutilized, but then again, I thought lots of things were way underutilized in Voyager.
So true.
Yeah, but seeing him come back and actually get his due recognition and becoming a captain and being a part of the story and the world as it evolves is nice.
Hold on, weren't you just laughing that Harry was a captain when you were looking at Dust to Dust?
Right. Well, that's what reminded me of it.
Ah.
Is seeing that recently.
Yes, I had just completed Dust to Dust and hadn't closed it out, so it was up on the screen. So, tell me then, what would you like to see in the game moving forward? I know you haven't been playing a lot with it, but as somebody who's coming back to it, are you a PvP, PvE, ground, space, characters, exploration?
I'm definitely a player versus environment, space game person. I very much enjoy playing the games where you're out doing the space battle and adventure there. What I'd love to see, though, are more missions that honestly take place on your own ship.
Really?
Yeah, think about that for a moment. As cool as it is to interact with the Star Trek world outside, how many opportunities do you really have in-game to deal with invading alien forces, or the diplomat who turns out to be an evil space vampire, or the energy being of the week? You never get to do that with your own ship, or at least not a lot.
There are quite a few missions where you go on somebody else's ship to defeat them, but you know, that's actually a good point. But the question is, can that be done? You know more about game design than I do.
I definitely think that can be done, given the fact that we already don't differentiate very much between the various ship interior modules that the game loads up. It shouldn't be difficult at all to say, yes, this is just this section. And while it wouldn't make sense on a Defiant, it already doesn't make sense to go into an Excelsior-class ship's engineering section with its giant 5-level tall warp core on a Defiant class, and you can do that right now anyway.
You can?
Yeah.
I can't leave the bridge on my ship.
What?
Yeah, on some of the ships there's only bridges.
Oh, wow.
It's sad. I missed the first days when I discovered that I could take the turbo lift down to other levels and walk around and talk to the bartender and the chef and the engineering crew and go to sick bay. And that was one of the things that I found to be absolutely wonderful about the game, though I did wind up spending way too much time doing that.
Well, I mean, that is one of the advantages of driving around the cruiser classes, you know, apart from them just being better.
Do you have a favorite ship currently?
Yes, no, you're. Nay.
Okay, that means maybe?
That means that I have lots of favorite ships, and it depends on what day you ask me which one is my favorite.
Ah. So what makes a good ship for you?
Well, there's got to be several different things. It's got to be purpose-built. In that way, the Katinga and the D7, being my favorite classic-era ships, are really... they function well for what they're intended to be. Mm-hmm. The bird of prey design is good because it's very much intended to be one thing. Oh, we've got another person joining it. How can they sit closer?
That's Sav. Hi, Sav. She's special.
Hey, Sav. Apparently the chair gods like Sav more.
Yes, Sav is one of our one of our admirals. Not one of our fleet admirals. One of these days. If she ever wants to.
Well, purpose-built, a sense of aesthetics, it comes down to a lot of different things, and while I could, wax poetic about the beauty of the Akira class, what it does in STO is not what it does in the actual lore, and that's fine. They're not the same thing. I would say, what is my favorite ship overall? Possibly the Excelsior class. I mean, I've mentioned it several times. And I really just have, over time, especially thanks to the Star Trek Adventures role-playing game, fallen in love with that class.
Aha! So, Star Trek Adventures role-playing game, tell me about it, because I think we've talked about it?
Oh, it's a Dungeons & Dragons-style role-playing game where you take command of a starship and have adventures in a Star Trek setting. Recently, I've been building an adventure in the new Klingon Empires module. It's published by Modifius Entertainment. It looks really cool. I'm very excited about it. It's pretty intuitive, actually. I got to see another YouTuber running a stream of the game that they were playing, which was very, very strange. Very not Star Trek. I don't recommend it for anybody who's a hardcore lore nerd.
Okay. Intuitive is an interesting term of phrase, because I do remember the first few times I was playing this, basically yelling from the office for you to explain to me where's Sulu. And it just makes sense. It's intuitive, and I'm thinking, this is many things, but intuitive, no.
It's intuitive if you've been playing video games for a while and know that WASD is how you move around, shift is how you sprint, space is how you jump. You use the mouse to turn your head around and look at things, and you use your mini-map and you press M to see the full-size map.
Well, see, you learn something every day. It took me a long time to get into all of that. So being a complete noob, it was a challenging game, and that's actually one comment we hear a lot, which is, it's a tough game to play.
It certainly is, and I will not deny that anybody coming into the game at this stage is going to come in with a bit of a handicap. This game has been out for several years.
10. It's been out for 10 years, yeah.
not many games last for 10 years, especially in the MMO market. Most of them, like most restaurants, die within a first year. But this one has lasted, and it's done very well for itself. But that does still mean that it's coming from this worldview of 10 years ago, and even longer ago when they started the design process. And a lot of things follow older ideas of how we would design interfaces and layouts. The quality of life adjustments have not followed this game's age.
Translate that.
Over time, any MMO will see changes to how the user interacts with the game, and these are overall called quality of life improvements. It makes it easier for you to get normal things done. Largely, they are introduced as, hey, here's a new system, like duty officers. And then over time, they will adjust here's the simplified system of duty officers and how you just plug in everybody automatically and send it to go.
Okay. And you see that has happened with this?
Yes, a lot of the systems that they've brought in have been improved from where they began.
Oh, but definitely.
But it's also important to remember that you're dealing with a game that's 10 years old, and keeping everything up to date in that is going to be borderline impossible.
Yes. So we do see some of the stuff that was there way at the beginning is no longer there. Things have been lost with time, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the ill. Foundry is one thing that a lot of us miss. But people make up for the ability to create their own stories with some of the other aspects of the game, like demo record. Sadly, ERP. I have nothing against ERP, folks. Just make sure you've got it on your private channel and don't put it in zone chat, please.
I'm gonna say this. Look, if you're gonna ERP, great, fantastic. Do your ERP. Use Discord, man. Chat systems on a game are not designed for that amount of text going back and forth. And if you're not doing at least paragraphs, what's wrong with you? Step up your game. Come on.
Yes. See, everybody's coming up here to sit with us.
Who joined us?
Across from you is somebody.
Oh my God! What is that?
That's Frost. Frost
Plus,
likes.
your uniform is so bright that I can't see your face.
Yes, that's the way he's got that set up. Hey, so let's go on to talking about that for just a moment. I'll give this a break here. All right, since I completely lost track of where we were talking on the other line, Space Barbie. You Space Barbie guy?
Space Barbie guy?
Yeah, do you like to play Space Barbie?
Do you mean Fashion Frame?
Yes, Space Barbie.
Okay. Yeah, no, fashion is the true end game. I think we can all acknowledge that.
The costume that I'm wearing on my tune, aside from changing the color, I haven't changed it since I did a video 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Though I will tell you, you gave me a piece of wisdom when I was doing my first tune, and I was asking you why you tended to create female tunes. You know, it wasn't a judgment, but I was kind of surprised that you always tended to have females. I noticed that Bellar here is male.
Yeah, well, I've switched up a little bit of the philosophy that goes into my choices. The philosophy about why you make a female character is very, very simple, at least from my perspective. You make a character who you're not going to mind staring at the butt of for the next 20 hours a week, maybe. Yeah. If I'm going to be staring at somebody's butt, it better be somebody's butt that I want to look at.
That's a fine point.
Now, the philosophy has changed, though, in light of most of the entertainment that I read. And there's a very simple reason for this. If I get stuck in whatever video game I'm playing, I would prefer to have the same bits and tackle that I had when I wasn't in the game. It's an irrational thought. It's an irrational thought, and I embrace that. But the point remains, I think that's an important thing to try to hold on to.
Whoa, TMI.
Well, look, you don't want to be log horizoned in, and suddenly you're playing a ninja of the different gender, and going, this is awkward. How do people walk around like this?
Yeah, that's probably a really good question, and one I do not have an answer for.
I'm just saying, it's part of the philosophy of why I play, or why I am now playing male characters.
Good enough. I tend to play female characters with the obvious exception of the Jem'Hadar and the Gorn.
Are those really genders?
Well, they're not options. I tried to.
There you go.
I made my Jemmy as feminine as I could, but there weren't a lot of options involved. Other than getting there and buying a lot of clothes. And I'm not going to do that. But there are people like Sav sitting next to you who are awesome at Space Barbie, and Frost sitting across from you who's also very good with Space Barbie. And for a lot of people, between Space Barbie for ground and Space Barbie for ships, it is an entire thing unto itself.
Oh, I don't doubt that. The design of the Atago was more involved than any of the Klingon ships that I'm able to design right now. And it's one of the reasons why I think that Federation characters have a very fun advantage when it comes to designing what they want to play as and what they want to use.
I agree. I think to some extent the Ramis and the Ramis and the Klingons have gotten a little bit of short shrift in terms of ship design.
I would completely agree with that. But it's also to be expected to a certain degree. The Federation is IDIC in its truest form. Infinite diversity and infinite combination. You get a lot of different viewpoints that come together and create a lot of different ideas. So even when you have essentially the mainline ships, your Excelsiors and Constitutions, and their production version ships, the Mirandas and the Centaurs, and then you go on and you extend that philosophy into the Galaxy and the Nebula, and even further into the Sovereign, and to a lesser extent the Saber, which is not exactly built off of that, but you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
But you then have all of the weird ships that came out of that. The Antares class is the flying brick. The Prometheus class, the Intrepid class, things that break away from the traditional test and production methods, but also still keep to certain core values of Federation design.
Mm-hmm. So, I know you've been gone from the game for a while, but we recently had the release of the Kittimer, which is a Federation KDF Rami co-design ship.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I saw that.
Okay. With the right build, that is an amazingly good ship, which surprised the heck out of me because I was like, ugh, how do you combine three such disparate styles in one ship?
Well, from a story perspective, that's really an interesting concept, because how do you incorporate the Romulan need to basically do as much as possible with almost zero power production compared to the other two?
Mm-hmm.
The Klingon desire to have ruggedly robust and almost indestructible ships on the interior layer. You either completely destroy them or it's totally functional. And the Federation's need to have ships that are hyper-specialized through all of their different sections, so that, yeah, they're probably going to be able to repair themselves, but you're very easily able to, smash apart this or that system if you get through the shields.
Mm-hmm.
How do you reconcile those different design philosophies? But while I don't know the lore that goes into the Kittimer battleship, I said to myself, wow, that looks good.
My immediate reaction on seeing it was, ugh. And somebody convinced me to try it out with an AP build, which I was happy with, and then tweaked it a little bit and got happier with it, and then really tweaked it and got really happy with it. Mm-hmm. It's a nice blend of the three concepts. So kudos to whoever designed it in the game. But with a good build, it's awesome. Speaking of builds, I'm going to digress here. For those of you who haven't figured that out, Bellar/Dan is my son. And one of the first real adventures I had in Star Trek Online was getting into a mission. And I don't know which one it was, but it would start out, it was you, and supposedly you were with the team, but for whatever reason I wound up soloing it. Me versus 30 little ships and slowly killing them. And I'm thinking, okay, that's done. No, now we got 15 bigger ships. 5 bigger ships. 3 really big ships. And at the end, it's little old me versus a Daenerys. How long did it take that ship to go down?
Well, it took you, I want to say 3 hours or more.
Yes. And both of us
then,
playing it.
Yeah. And then there was when we got you and me and my roommate all working on the project together, and it went down in about 20 seconds.
Yes, and that was the first time I heard the phrase Death Blossom.
Mm-hmm.
A phrase that I hear very frequently now. We have a few players who have Death Blossoms of their own. And it does make for wonderful gameplay.
Well, if memory serves me, I had my contribution to that was, because again I was using cruiser build, going in and doing the beam spam on the scores of smaller ships.
Mm-hmm.
And then my roommate came in and targeted everybody with rapid fire sprays of dual cannons, and things stopped existing.
You have to appreciate this, everyone. There are 3 of us working on one keyboard. It was...
We were not.
We were 2. No, we were on my keyboard.
Oh gosh, that time when we did it.
Yeah, that time when we did it. And
no. That was a nightmare.
And I'm still around. I didn't learn my lesson.
Oh, you did. Now you use those tactics.
I do use those tactics. I learned a lot through the game.
Right lesson.
Well, Mr. Dan, Mr. Bellar, I want to thank you very much for joining us today, chatting with us. I know we didn't cover all the same topics we talked about the other night, which maybe it's just as well because we got off on our tangents about Voyager and Janeway, and but those are conversations we can have another day too.
I'll end it with this. Everybody who is playing Star Trek or enjoying Star Trek, you're part of a wonderful community. And the most important thing is just to enjoy it. Be wonderful to each other. You know, whether you like or don't like a show doesn't make you a better person or a worse person. It just means that you like or don't like a show. We can all have our own favorite captains, our own favorite ships. And we just got to follow that core Star Trek lesson. Be better. Always be a better person.
Aw, that's so nice. Gee, you must have a great mom.
I do have a great mom.
Well, thank you, sweetie, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And for everybody out there, hang around. We've got more stuff coming in just a little bit. And if we haven't done it yet, we're going to be playing Iron Space Barbies at some point. So have a great day, Mr. Dan. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Hang in there, and we'll talk to you in just 3 or 4 minutes. Or we're going to talk to you right now. I need to get some stuff set up here on the technical side of everything. Ooh, that's weird. Get some stuff set up here on the... Alrighty. Let's see if you can hear me now. Ooh, somebody can hear me. That's not right. Hold on. There we go. That's much better. All right, let me switch things around here. Let me move these around. Let's get game capture up there. All right, here we go. Where are you, DT?
Okay, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey there.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Oh my gosh, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing?
I'm good.
I haven't seen you for a while.
I know. I didn't get a chance to go to the last year, unfortunately, but it was it was kind of a bummer to miss that one. But when I heard you guys were doing it, you're doing this, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to be a part of this. So.
Well, thank you. I'm Glad you were
I
able
still
to
have all
join
my
us.
triples, and oh my gosh. For you guys, absolutely.
Wow, that's really nice of you. I'm trying to get all of our faces here on the screen, so bear with me for just a minute. As I've said more than a few times, tech is not my thing.
It's quite all right. It's not mine either.
No, that's not what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to say, "Oh, I'm awesome at it."
I'm the best. Totally.
There you
get
go.
everything.
That's how it should be. Okay, well, good. I can see my face on here. That's not what we want. Everybody knows what I look like.
Hey, Weston.
Hey. I can hear people now.
Can you see people?
Oh, good.
Yes.
It's all good.
You may hear a little bit of my kids are here and they're goofing off, so you may hear them kind of ramble around in the background a little bit. But I've since ordered them; they must be silent the whole time.
You can't do that.
No, that won't work.
That's not fair. That's their job. Oh, great. Well, we've got one person. Let's see if we can have another person join us. It's not that I dislike tech. It's just when I'm the person at work and they're saying, "Oh, you understand this stuff. You fix it." I'm like, no. If I'm the person who understands this is really bad.
Yeah.
It is really bad when I'm the tech person. Fortunately, where I work now, they actually have tech people who know what they're doing, in theory.
Where are you working at?
Currently, I work for a company called Dormicaba.
Okay.
So they
Dormicaba. Okay. Rolls off the tongue.
It's kind of a cool name. It's a company that does door opening devices and stuff like that. And I just push paper around. I'm nothing interesting there. Well, I've got you two on there, and DT and I aren't on there, so we'll just settle for talking to you guys today. Hi.
Okay.
Great.
Hi.
So welcome to the first annual Star Trek Online virtual convention.
I think that is fantastic. You guys are doing this. Super excited to be a part of it.
So we appreciate that. It's been kind of an interesting process because we were getting kind of set to go to Vegas and hedging our bets because, as you know, that's a huge investment of time and money. And that wasn't happening if we weren't sure it was going to happen. So we're just hedging bets, and then all of a sudden we kind of came up with this idea of, hey, if it doesn't happen, maybe we could just do it virtually?
It's in a way, obviously it's cheaper for you guys.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. But this whole thing is kind of creative. People have to adapt and come up with different ideas. I am the fact that we live in this kind of world now with technology. It does allow for this kind. It makes this kind of stuff a lot easier, and it's more accessible to a lot of people. So hopefully people enjoy it. Enjoy our conversation today.
Well, can I have both of you talk for just a moment so I make sure that I'm not getting... people are telling me we're having terrible echo, so I'm trying to fix it.
Oh, okay.
I can talk too. I don't know if that's helping or not.
Is that helping at all, guys?
I'm not hearing any echoes on mine.
Yeah, but nobody's... Let's see if I can fix that one. How is that, Sav? Sav is out there going, we have terrible echo, Mom! Nope.
Yeah, because usually I'll get echo if someone has the speakers on, but I'm using everything through headphones. So.
Well, yeah, I'm always going with...
I'm not hearing any.
Yeah, I got my speakers turned down very low, so it's...
I'm on my headphones, and let's see if we get that and that. Better? Okay, they're saying it's better now. Yay. Good. Always good to hear that. So, yesterday Nick was on with us, and we spent a lot of time talking about the thing I love most of all in not the thing I love most of all in Star Trek Online, but one of my absolute loves in Star Trek Online, which is New Rom. I adore New Romulus. And it's actually the thing that got me back into the game after...
oh, really?
Yeah, it was a great story. It was engaging. It was heart-wrenching, and... just really pulled at all those little things. So it's not that I didn't love Star Trek, because I've watched Star Trek since it actually premiered, back in the 60s. Yes, I'm old. And glad I'm not the only one who watched that.
You said nothing yet.
And obviously enjoyed the game. My son and I were at, I think, the 2008 convention when they were talking about it in the still planning ages. And he was... heavy gamer, so he really enjoyed it at that point. And he's like, come on, guys, play it. Okay, fine, we'll get it. And I was 2 days into it, and because I don't game. And he got me into it, got me really hooked on it. And I kind of faded out. And then Legacy of Romulus came out, and I'm in. I am so in the game. And I've been somewhat dedicated ever since.
What do you think? So Weston, you've been playing pretty much most of the entire system of the game. What was it like for you when Romulus came out?
I love the new Romulus arc, especially back during the old reputation system, because it continually progressed the story while you were doing the reputation system as well. So it felt like you were really interacting with all the characters in the world and the story, and progressively finding out this mystery about the arch and underneath and all this kind of stuff with the Olians and the Onians. It was an amazing experience. That was one of my favorite things back then. I love that.
Wow. I was told we're still getting echo, so Pi, if you're around, if you could help me out, that would be awesome. Nope, they're saying the echo's back. Pi, what am I doing without you? Let's try.
That's going to be an issue for this year. It's all Pi's fault.
Yeah. I can still hear you. Everything sounds great on my end. So.
Yeah, same here, so. Did you turn your speakers off Twitch? How's that? All right. Or set your volume off on Twitch, because sometimes I listen to that at times.
Where are we streaming, by the way? I forgot.
Twitch TV / the Darkmom Consortium, one big word.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
How dare they eat?
What is it? It's like 12. Is it 8 hours ahead? Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And then of course we did the whole booth thing, which got me out to convention in Vegas, and
I just remember, the first time going, and I've only gone twice, but that first time going, I was so amazed by all the fans and everybody coming up, and then hearing that you guys used your own money to create your own booth to basically represent our game. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. I just love your total love for the game and you're willing to do that. And then getting a chance to talk to you guys and see how fun and cool you guys were. Oh my gosh, I just want to hang out with these guys the whole time. But I have to do my job and go hang out of my own booth and do stuff. But it was really neat to meet you guys again, to see you guys again virtually. It's great. Sure. You're in me and Weston's wheelhouse.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So good.
Yeah.
I can tell you this is completely planned out. Yes.
Absolutely.
Which makes it more fun.
That's right.
And she's back.
There we go.
Do you?
Try that. If everyone could say something.
Trying that.
Okay, people, is that any better?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah, I know there's a 30-second lag here, so I'm waiting for people to talk back to us.
right.
So hopefully they can hear us, and hopefully it's not as garbled as it was. Somebody respond. Somebody say something in Twitch. Thank you. Okay, we're good. We are good. Yay! Tech stuff.
Now you have to admit, you have to confess what you did to fix it.
I turned off the NDI and just went back to the regular microphones.
All right, there you go.
We'll go
I haven't the slightest clue what that means. But
Neither do I. Neither do I. I got this hooked up by going to Google and going, okay, we're going to click this button and click that button and cross fingers. That's how everything gets set up.
How's my volume? Is it too loud? Am I good? I can adjust things on mine if I need to.
Same here.
Duffy says we're cooking with gasoline now.
All right. I like that.
So getting back to cutscenes, which you guys are the kings of cutscenes, Ed and I, Idarta and I play a lot of games in the morning. We do a live stream in the morning, and we usually have a little bit more fun going back and playing with new tunes and replaying old missions. And going back through it, the cutscene was more of the traditional cutscene where it's an interruption of gameplay rather than building on the gameplay in some of those early ones. And I'll exempt the new Klingon stuff because that's pretty awesome. But you go back in and it's gameplay, a little bit of a cutscene, but small cutscenes, not really interrupting so much. And then obviously there's a touch of expository. There's a little bit of explanation of what's going on. There's a little bit of character definition or scenario definition. And it's fairly static in terms of what it is until we reach Coliseum, where you see it really start to change a little bit, especially as they're coming out of the cave and you see the crashed ship in the distance. And all of a sudden it becomes a little bit more world immersive and less expository. Fortunately, Slamic's not talking at that point, which is really cool. And then we get into cutting the cord, and all of a sudden, the cutscene becomes an integral part of the game. So you're going over the buildings and through the stairways, around, and you get the orbital strike on the shuttles. You get to go watch Hakeev get executed. And all these little bits start to build, and it continues on, I've noticed, in more and more getting up into the area of brush fire, where all of a sudden it's absolutely essential. Those cutscenes make the story.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
the movie.
Right. And I think I'll kind of go into my process of when this kind of really started on my end and when I really felt like we took a turn. Because when we were doing the Zinkethi mission, I can't remember the name of that mission, and maybe that is the mission that you're talking about. There's too many of them. I get distracted by that. But there was the shot where the Zinkethi comes out of it's a buried little piece of something in the ground, and then it comes up out of the ground, and you see these ships get launched, and you're like, oh, these are Zinkethi ships.
The Drenzuli ships.
Right. And so that was the first time where our old art director, Mike, he storyboarded something. And I was like, okay, these storyboard things, that's changing it a little bit. It's making us really think about how we want to tell our story. Because a lot of times, honestly, beforehand, it was just the designers would come up and they would do something really quick. And they weren't really thinking about composition. They weren't thinking about how can I tell a story through camera movement. And so then when we started to focus on storyboarding, then I don't know how I got involved with that, but I'm a huge moviephile. Like, I love movies. I took movie making classes in college. I understand the idea of editing a scene together, all the 180 rules and all this stuff. And I love that. I even love it more than actually making video games. That's where my first love is actually movies and storytelling. And so when they threw me onto this, and then I started storyboarding ideas. And the great thing, too, with Weston had kind of gotten on. He was our main animator for our project. We had another gentleman working on it before, but his focus wasn't really on cinematography and whatnot. He was more just animating characters and trying to get a bunch of animations for different characters. Where Weston focused on, okay, how can I do our cutscene editor? Because it's a very, dare I say, clunky tool. Am I understating that, Weston? Is it clunky?
I'm not sure I would use the word clunky, but yes, that's pretty accurate.
It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to use. But Weston, being young and ambitious, he said, "I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna try things." And he
I like a challenge.
took it to you literally stole my words. I said he took on the challenge of how can I make these storyboards that we're coming up with work. And then it was like, okay, this first one started, and then we're okay, let's expand on that. And then we started to kind of get in a groove of how we can tell these stories. And we really, in the beginning, it was a lot of, we're going to draw out specifically, I want this shot, and I want this shot, and I want to do this, and I want this camera to move over here. And we took a lot of time to really craft that. And in the beginning, it was hard because I was also the environment lead. So I was like, I'm environment arting and storyboarding, and that takes a ton of time to do. So I couldn't do both jobs as much as I wanted to. But then as we kept doing the process, Weston...
We've kind of gotten on the same wavelength at this point.
So we speak the same language, and then it's more of like, Weston, you run with it, and then I will, if I see something that I want specifically, I'll call that out. Like, there are certain shots where I'm like, I want to see this shot. The one we storyboarded specifically the mycelia bomb going off in our last mission with Jula. That was storyboarded specifically because I wanted to see this one shot of the mycelium rift expanding and where you see this hero shot of the player looking at
yes, absolutely.
Rolling. And I was like, that's a great shot, and I want to do that.
That's a great example because it's like when we were because like when we were talking that one through during that storyboarding process, like you were just like spouting those words and whatever, but I already had it in my head, like, this is what he wants, this is what I'm wanting, this is we are connected with this kind of thing. It works just really well.
Well, I love that particular scene because it's not just looking at the characters' faces, you're seeing what's happening around them, and it really has a greater effect on you. So you do embrace it more on an emotional level.
Right, and because you want, there are certain elements that I said we have to have that. We have to have the mycelium rift engulf somebody in that shot. We need to see how dangerous this thing is. So it's we're very intentional with how we're storyboarding this scene, where I don't think we were doing that before. We just, hey, here's move a camera to kind of give an idea of what's happening, but no, we want to tell a story. And so that's how that turned out. But to kind of turn it around a little bit, one of my favorite scene from that whole mission was the one that Weston did, that all I did was say, there's one shot that I want. I just want one shot where I want, and it's the Jula speech. That's all I said. There's only one shot where I want, where she says, and now we make ships together, and I want Jula and Jempok, who's he talked to? He's talking to.
That's Kagran, right?
Kagran. I want that shot of them in frame staring at each other, and then she looks back at Jempok. That's the only shot I said, but everything else in that scene was Weston being Weston, and he created the greatest, and I don't even know if he intended to do this, but when she says Kapla and she puts her hand up, the composition of that shot, there's this perfect composition of a triangle you see. Her hand is up, then you see the doors, you see the triangle shape of the lights and everything, and it was all kind of this happy accident. So when he showed me that shot, I was like, I got all giddy, and I was just like, look at that shot. And I'm like, marketing is going to want to use that. That's a great shot. And what are all the commercials, the little banners on the side, they use that shot. And I was like, that is fantastic. So
that actually was an epic shot, and I didn't realize.
Great. And that was all Weston being Weston, because him and I have kind of developed this language, and I don't have to do much anymore, which is fantastic.
So
I just have to sit around and be like, Weston,
hey, and to you, sir, and to you.
Yeah. That's my son, Keegan. Yes.
Hi, Keegan.
They say hi. He's waving. But yes, Weston is. Oh gosh, I'm so excited to work with him. But
I mean, we wouldn't be able to do any of this without your direction on these cutscenes too. You have an amazing cinematic eye. Like,
well, thank you.
A lot of the cutscenes that we had before the latest episodes too. A lot of that is directly from what Scott does. He has this great way of telling stories with the camera, with all this knowledge of the previous movies and things that he's done with the past, and just anything storyboard artist too is just, it's great, all of it.
Well, it's a lot of me watching a ton of movies and going like, oh, there was one shot. So the I know I'm rambling. I apologize.
No,
But
please
the
ramble
scene
on.
when oh gosh, I'm getting when the changeling stabs.
Oh my word! I love that scene.
So that scene, I said I've seen this movie called The Village where Dallas Bryce Howard stabs there's two characters. One gets stabbed, but you never see him get stabbed. You just see the reaction on his face, and then he looks down, and you see the blade is in there. I'm like, I want that in this shot, and that's what he did. It was you see his reaction first, and then the camera moves, and you see what he's done, and yeah, it was just such a good scene. And the fact that Weston has now taken because again, the animators before didn't do this. They didn't touch the face. Mm-hmm. They never did any cutscenes with them where, we're going to mess with the face and do emotions and whatnot. He did that. He said, I'm going to do that.
Nice.
And so, sure, camera movement could do one thing, can only do so much if the face doesn't really reflect what's happening in the scene. And the fact that he not only does emotions, which are great, but he takes, if we're using an actor that's a real character, where we're using like Michael Burnham or whoever, or Garrick, he knows because he watches the shows, how would Garrick emote this?
Well, actually,
So
yeah,
he does
that's something DT and I have mentioned a couple of times to each other, is that your Garrick is freaking great.
Everybody,
Yeah.
And that was the first one that we really noticed. Was that
Yeah.
the first one that you said, I'm going to do this?
Oh,
I'm
it's-
going to make these contact
yeah.
dialogue boxes and reflect his character?
Yeah,
it is
Garrick was the Garrick was the first one.
absolutely spot on with that. And it's, again, it just pulls you back into DS9. To the extent that, Gamma Quadrant is, as far as we're concerned, DS9 Season 8. It is
yes.
watching,
Yeah.
it's watching the movie version of what the last season should have been.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of people have been saying. And it was really neat to be a part of that that panel. When we talked about that, we had a lot of people from the show up there talking about it. And I was like, man, yeah, these fans, because, I have to confess, I never watched Deep Space Nine. I was a movie person. Again, I'm a movie person. I love all the movies, and I watched 1 through 6, except for 5, because I never watched 5. That never happened. But but I could see how people reacted to that, and they loved it so much. And I'm like, that's really great that we can say we did season 8.
You did.
Our game did season 8, and Nick did such
an
a
honor
great
to
job.
work on that.
Yeah, and we had such a great environment to build upon because Nick had built that, and did you guys talk about that yesterday with Nick about Deep Space Nine?
We talked about
the revamp of the whole station and everything else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was him all the way. That was his pet. It was his pet project, and he put so much time into that thing.
He worked on that for so long. That had to be like a year-long project, wasn't it? Because I remember seeing the work in progresses for that back when we were talking about the Drenzuli.
Right.
Like that was so long. You worked on that so good.
It was. So here's the weird. And again, I know we're going down a rabbit hole, but when I started 5 years ago in May, and when I got started, Nick was doing that revamp. He did a white box, which is basically no textures or colors or anything. It's just the geo shapes. He was doing that, and I was like, hey, this is cool seeing all this stuff. But I don't know what it really is. I just started. And then he got pushed to the side. And then when we said we're going to do X4 and it's going to be Deep Space Nine, it's like, all right, everybody, let's bring back Deep Space Nine and finish this thing. And he did such a great job with that. I really hope the fans appreciate just being able to walk around there as a social zone, being able to just interact with different people and whatnot.
I think everyone does. There are a couple things about Deep Space Nine I love. It's the people who just walk down from nowhere. They're still my favorite thing about it. I love the other one because I have claustrophobia. And so even seeing my tune in there, it's like, I can do this.
Yeah,
but,
it's a very cramped space.
Yeah.
It's funny because our designers have here's a little secret. We like to keep our environments a little bigger than normal because we want to incorporate gameplay in there. So you'll see that, like, hey, our discovery hallways, they don't match the actual geo because we need to be able to allow for combat and whatnot in there because the way our system is designed, we have to have our BOFs and our bridge officers and everybody in there, and if we have it too cramped, it just creates a lot of problems. So with Deep Space Nine, it's great as a social hub and being able to kind of do certain things, maybe solo events. But if we need to bring our bridge officers in there, it's a little cramped to kind of get in there and do certain combat events.
I can
like you
only
go into forest.
imagine.
Yeah, it's rough. But again, I think as a social zone and as being in there, it must feel so nice for people to be like, hey, I'm in the promenade. I'm in Garrick's prison area. You know, he took the time. He does a lot of research. Nick, that being Nick, does a lot of research and gathering. I want to make sure we have this. We have the fish tank. We have all this stuff in there, and building all those and making sure that we incorporate all those. And then he had the hard trouble of being able to, the promenade doesn't. The things we see on the show only cover a little spectrum of what's all there. So we had to make up a bunch of stuff in the background that he had to kind of build. So
I remember seeing his reference folder from like all the different like screenshots from the show. My word, he must have had like 3,000 reference images. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it helps too with CBS because they would provide us with a bunch of stuff, and
That's
because
true.
it was it was a show that had been canceled, so it was easy to really kind of grab that stuff. Now with Discovery, it's a lot more difficult because they have to, it's a current show, so it makes it a little more difficult to get the kind of reference that we need for stuff.
Yeah.
Not being a huge Discovery fan myself, I've really enjoyed DS9, and I'm enjoying a lot of the subtleties, the little bits that you're pulling from Picard in terms of the 7 of 9 involvement.
Right.
But the...
What did you think of that?
I love that.
Of the 7 of 9?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. What is it? Measure of Morality was a fun TFO, but the...
I loved that TFO.
I really loved it. I'm one of the original series fans, so the whole revisiting of that whole trial, as it were.
Yeah. Just for me playing the game for so long is like I loved working on that because it pulls from every single amazing thing that this game has had over its lifetime, all in one thing. It was great. I loved it.
It's actually the second
and the cinematic of all the ships arriving at the
that's what I was just going to say. That's what I was going to say, DT. That last part is just like, yes, and you've got little bits of the voices, and it's very much like the 7 of 9 one on the ground patrol. No, the ground TFO, which I adored. That was Bozeman. One Night in Bozeman.
Was fun. I like
right.
That was fantastic.
This is the first contact day one.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That was David Lopez, and so the call for that was we have the one where we do the rockets. That's and we did that a while ago, and David wanted to up-res it a little bit because we knew that that gameplay didn't incorporate. It wouldn't be good for what we wanted to do with the Borg stuff. So our intention was to update both maps basically, but it became too problematic. So the only unfortunate thing is you'll play the rocket one, and the map looks very different than the first contact day one, because they're two totally different maps. The one with the Borgs has been updated, and hopefully eventually we'll be able to migrate over those changes to the new one. But it takes time, and we're a small team, so finding time for that is difficult. But David went to town on, okay, we got to relight it. We got to let's make sure that this feels very different. So we did it at night, which made the fires pop more. So we wanted to have everything by firelight that would kind of guide you through the map, and the bombardment and everything. And then they said, we're going to take snippets from the movie, and we're going to have, you can walk by the bar and you can hear, Riker and I'm brain farting on
Riker, Troy,
Deanna.
Riker and Troy.
Deanna, Troy, kind of arguing. I just love that.
The whole loaded dialogue.
That was.
I 9 times out of 10, I always just pause just to listen to that.
Exactly. Yeah, it made it the longest TFO there was, just because we're all sitting there going, "Yep, gotta listen to this every single time." But doing the night scenario too was wonderful because it added to the to the depth of what was going on. It's scarier. It's you're less comfortable because you can't see things, which made it a lot more fun. And the dialogue was also great too.
Well, and being dark, that is a difficult thing that we deal with. We struggle with that a lot in that we want to make sure that people see the gameplay. but everybody has different monitors that they're using, so it's hard to be. I'll hear one designer talking about it's too dark, but I'll look at it on my machine and it looks fine. So it's a kind of and being that we're working remotely right now, it makes it really difficult because I can't walk over to your screen and say, hey, no, just look at your settings. They're all wonky. So it makes it difficult. But, the nighttime stuff, I love that. So we had to make sure we put enough light in there, to obviously make the enemies pop, but also to help guide the player if they were getting lost with stuff. Because I like the idea of not having hand-fisting things to you where it's like, here's a reticle, go here. It's like, let's let the environment guide you through places if we can. I know sometimes it's hard to do that, but games like Half-Life, those were ones where they didn't tell you anything. You just had to figure it out. So I like being able to try and do that where let the player, you're not an idiot.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Let's give you enough clues to kind of lead you through the map to kind of figure out what the next task is. And so it's a challenge sometimes. So we have to do a lot of give and take sometimes to make sure that we're sending the message, but players aren't getting lost. So there's a lot of play tests where we kind of make sure, hey, have you played this map before? No, cool. Are you getting lost? No, you aren't. Great, then we're doing our job. If you are, then maybe we need to kind of change things a little bit to make sure that people understand where to go.
There's one thing I've been enjoying with some of the newer ones, certainly starting with Home, with the new Kittimer Discord, and to an extent with Measure of Morality, which is, even though I know I'm going to survive this, you've got enough fear of what the outcome is going to be that even last night, I've played Kittimer Discord maybe a dozen times last night, and I'm still crouched up against the wall shooting at the Alachi going, come on, get that thing fixed. And I know I'm going to survive, but... Yeah, and I think that actually has happened a couple of times, certainly at the end of Measure of Morality when the rest of the ships come in. Until that moment, there's that, okay, yeah, I can do this.
That's good storytelling.
It's great storytelling.
It's great storytelling.
It's funny, though. It's a very tropey thing. I've watched, since I've been at home a lot, it's like I'm watching all these different shows. And it's like I'm rambling here, I know. I watched Lost recently because I was on some channel. And they did that all the time where you're like, the guy's about to get shot. And you're just like, I know he's not going to. What's going to happen that someone's going to come in and save the day? And it always happened. Someone came in and saved the day. But it's a trope that works. People like that. So, yeah, it is a trope, but it's a very effective trope. And so it would be nice to kind of come up with a story beat where you're like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen at all. And I'm sure we have done those kind of things before. Well, again,
with this new one that's out, Kittimer Discord at the end, where all of a sudden the game has changed. You're not the good guy. You're on the bad guy. You're on the bad guy side. That was definitely a WTF moment.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And okay, and there's that part of me going, I can't be the bad guy. I'm me. You've got to come out with the next episode right now.
Right. And I guess we did do that, which I want to talk about Weston again. We haven't had a chance to talk about this when we got Jason Isaacs to come on and do that story when we were on Pavo. And not Pavo, I'm sorry, Friar's World D, sorry. That is actually my absolute favorite cutscene that Weston did, which was the one where Lorca, not Lorca, why am I brain farting on their names? Where self-sacrifice, when she basically Patel self-sacrifices herself so that everybody could live. That one was, that got me really hard because I knew when we wrote this, it was like, I want that scene, and we storyboarded the crap out of that one. That one was like very intentional about what we wanted to do because I knew that had a lot of emotional beats to it. And it was going to be a long scene too. And I remember we were working some crazy hours, and we had talked about what we wanted to do with that scene. And then Weston came over, and I think, what time was that? Do you remember what I'm talking about when I...
it was after midnight. It was well after hours. That was one of the longer times.
Yeah. But He came over and he said, he either told me he showed it to me, and I looked at it and I literally screamed out loud, super giddy. I was just like, I've never reacted like that with anything that we've ever done because I was so excited about the emotion that he put into that. And because it was one of those things where on paper, I knew what it was going to look like. It was going to feel a certain way when she's detonated the bomb and the explosion goes off. I love you. And then boom. And I was like, okay, it's going to be good. And then when you see it and you see how it's executed with care, and he does such a great job with it. It was like, I just couldn't. I get so excited about stuff. And when I saw that, I was just so happy, and so happy for Weston because of how he did that and how he was able to execute that. And so Weston, I'm really proud of you for that.
It was one of scared me how loud you screamed. So yeah.
That was a terrific emotional moment because we don't see main character death that often, and to have that actually come up in the game is just a bit earth-shattering or world-shattering.
Right.
And
just shows.
Go ahead, DP.
Shows a good job you've done. I mean, we're just getting more and more drug into the game because more and more immersed into this because how these cutscenes are just pulling us more in.
Right, and Rekha Sharma too. She came in studio and recorded, which was great because it makes it a lot easier to kind of direct the player or direct the actor because you can do certain things. Michael Burnham. What's her? I'm sorry.
Sonequa Martin Green.
Yeah, Sonequa Martin. She was fantastic because she was so good to work with, but she was remote. So I got to work with her, but she took all direction. It was fantastic. But Rekha Sharma, when she was there, she was so good. And I don't think she'd ever done voice talent stuff before. So this was kind of her first time getting into that. And she was, it was really good. And she was always like, how was that? How did I do with that? And I was like, you're tearing my heart out with this kind of emotion that she's doing. Because after the explosion has gone off and she's like walking around, totally stunned and screaming for her and thinking she's still alive. I'm like, oh, you're killing this performance and you're doing such a great job with it. So, so good, so good. Weston's disappeared.
Yes.
It's
real life.
He's going to cry because he's reliving all this. Like, the emotions.
Yeah, but the emotions are really driving the stories lately. There's so much more involvement versus originally. Yeah, I'm engaged because I always wanted to be a Starfleet captain. I go back to the days of Kirk and Spock and McCoy, and that's what I wanted to be when I grew up, which didn't work out that way, but now I can be. But the emotional content that was in the story or in the TV shows, if you bought into it a lot, isn't as much in the game, and that's been building and building. And as I said, going back through Legacy of Romulus, that was emotional, and that really was the revival for me coming back into the game. And just seeing that build and build and build, especially over the last 3 or 4 years, has been fabulous.
Yeah. I think that was trying to remember the Sela mission where you go into the map where the little time bubbles. Yeah, that was. Go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you up, Paul.
No, you're good. No, I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, we were actually playing that the other day. Yeah, again, that's one of our morning things that we like to go back and revisit old missions that we don't do a lot. And great mission and again, great story.
Yeah, and that was the first one that I was like. Again, Weston wasn't on the project at that point, or if you weren't doing cutscenes. That was the one where I first thought of the idea of we should be doing some storyboarding for this. Because when I talked to the animator, I was like, why don't we do a scene, and I would love to go back and revisit this if we ever get a chance, the shot of the scene at the very end when Data is there.
Oh, yes.
And she's like, now tell me about my mother. I said there needs to, because he's holding a trinket or something. He has something.
He's holding the
holographic display that she gave him.
Right. So I was like, why don't we end this shot? I talked with him, and he wasn't able to do it. But I know Weston could totally do this now. Why don't we do a shot where the shot is that the trinket is in the foreground, and then you see Data because we didn't have Data as a character, we couldn't show his face. But we could blur it, so we could do a shot where you see Sela and Data, and they're in the background, and it's depth of field, so they're blurred out, and they sit to each other. They're sitting next to each other on the prison bed, and she says, "Now tell me about my mother." But you're seeing the trinket in the foreground of her mother, and I'm like, that would be a great shot. And so I'm thinking of this. That was my first. Let's do cinematic stuff in the game, and so that kind of. Was kind of the start of how we started doing this. And so I would love, Weston, if we ever get a chance to go back, that would be a cutscene I would love to revisit at some point. So let's make it happen, all right?
Weston, what areas would you like to see revisited?
I'm working my way through like the older cutscenes that started the game. Like some of the earlier Romulan ones, not the actual Romulan missions, but the Romulan arc. I think it's just called the.
You're cutting out just a little bit there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah, going through the older missions is what I've been doing very slowly over time. And it's funny that like you started talking about Colosseum initially when we started talking a while back, because that was actually the next one on my list
to
go
sweet.
and read back and revamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
going back yeah.
That was one of the first ones where playing, I really began to enjoy it as more than just a go here, do that type thing. There was a story you were involved in. Much as we all don't like Slavic, it was a better visual and emotional appeal to it. It's certainly visual because it takes you out of that, you're just in this little image here and working in this box into you're in a world. Nimbus is similar. I love Nimbus to this day. Nimbus, New ROM, Ryza, obviously.
Right.
Love Ryza.
Right.
But these big, of course I do. It's one reason I hate the Las Vegas convention is it mucks up my playing on Ryza.
Oh, well, did you, so I'm going to ask this on the environment side. So you noted, you obviously you've been playing since it.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. So new water. I put some new water in there. On the spawn point, again, my mission is to revamp that whole area because, trade secret here, all the mountains, that's all just this thing we use called a terrain generator here. So there's a lot of, it's all kind of very smooth and rounded rocks. But I can, if you probably noticed it in Pavo, there's a lot of, now we got this rock kit that we use, and we use it a lot now. We use it everywhere because they're good rocks. And we use those as three-dimensional rocks that we can start plugging into our environments to make them feel a little more realistic.
Oh.
So I did that on a tiny spot in Ryza. If right in the spawn point when you're looking at the sunset, if you turn around, there's a few rocks that I put in there just to kind of see how it would feel on Ryza if we started using more of those 3D rocks in there. And it feels great. And I'm just like, okay, when I get the time, when I have, it's like I have a lot of things on my plate. But when I get a chance and they can schedule like a good 2-week chunk for me to work on Ryza, then I want to go in there and just repopulate Pavo or Ryza with 3D rocks and make this feel a little more alive with some of those 3D spaces. Because we're doing a lot more of that now. Where we're buying assets online. We're finding, so because we're a smaller team, but we're able to go buy stuff. Like let someone else do the heavy lifting, and I'll just go buy something and use it and kind of place them in the world. So that's what we've been doing a lot of lately, and it's paying off in huge droves because those rocks that we've used in like 6 maps now, we bought them for like $20 online. $20, and then we're using them everywhere. So it's like, they pay for themselves a ton. So we want to try and do more of that stuff.
Hey, Mom, since you're on Ryza, why don't you go over and show the rocks to the people?
Oh yeah, if you're on Ryza, you can share your screen, and I can direct you.
Oh yeah, technical stuff. Share my screen. Let's see if I can even move. There we go. Where am I?
You're on the dance floor, so.
Well, I know I'm on the dance floor, but all my toys aren't showing up.
What do you guys think of the summer ship?
Oh, I actually like the summer ship. It's cute.
I wasn't. When in the design process, I wasn't sure, but now that I've seen the finished version sitting on Ryza, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and it shows off really well in the sun.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, you're looking right at them. Here they are.
Hold it. The ones right in front of me. Those big ones.
They
are different. Holy moly!
Because if before it would just be a big wall of that green grass.
Yeah, right. I didn't even realize that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so imagine when I get a chance to, like, you'll have a bunch of little rocks at the ground. They call it skirting, where I can go in there and kind of place things. So there's some heavy rocks, big rocks in the foreground or up here, and then you have some smaller rocks kind of sloping it so that it's not this, because right now it's just really hard, sharp. You got grass and then you got rock, but we want to kind of feather it where you're slowly getting a little bit less and less rocks. So I just wanted to see how they played, and they play really well. So I think
they do. I didn't even realize that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So give me some more time, Cryptic Studios.
Hey, I'm happy to give you as many years as you want.
Hey, I'll take them.
One of our watchers right now, Shadow Poa, loves the water, and he thanks you guys. So.
Oh, you're welcome. I still have plans for it because it's right now the way it's working. It doesn't feel like waves. It's still. I need to get it to where it's radial, so it goes around the entire island. Like if you go on the back of the island, the waves aren't going in the right direction. So there's some techniques that I have to do to kind of get it to work that way. It just takes time to get that to work the way I want. But my intention is to make this thing feel better and better every time. So I just need more time to do it.
That's always the thing. When I get time, something you mentioned earlier, kind of my watchwords. When I get done with this, which is today,
right,
then we got the next project to start. So there's always something cooking.
Yeah.
Hey, what did you guys talk yesterday about the new Klingon interiors that you saw? Like in New Kittimer?
We did cover a little bit.
Yes,
of that.
we did about New Kittimer.
Kittimer a lot. The redesign on Kittimer.
Yeah, that was. It was nice because it does a lot. It allows for some good stuff for the cutscenes. It just shows really well. Because again, some of our older stuff, and again, it's us as artists. We look at current games and we go, oh gosh, we can do so much better. Maybe the fans don't care, but we as artists care. But I would hope that when you notice a difference, you say like, wow, I noticed that looks way better than what it used to be. So the new Kittimer stuff. Yeah, Nick did such a great job with building those that it allows us to A, show our cutscenes really well, B, build things, reuse those in different ways. They're basically puzzle Lego pieces, and so we can reconstruct those and use them in different places, and just continue to reuse them everywhere. So you'll probably see those new Kittimer assets show up in later, as we continue on in the year of Klingon, you'll see those showing up in other places as well.
I totally understand. As Mom knows, I do a lot of graphics art for various various personal projects, and I look at my old stuff like you guys, and I look at the new stuff. It's like, I need to redo this.
Yeah.
It just goes from, not that it was bad in the past, but it's just clean and nice and sharp. And, there's, again, I don't know how much of this is in other games because I don't play any other games.
There you go.
After I moved here, I'm living here on my own for a couple of years while we try and find a house out here, but I get up, I play Star Trek Online, I go to work, I come home and I play Star Trek Online. And that's been my life since I moved out here.
So do you look at your son and you're like, you did this to me? Thank you very much.
It's mutual. He was born just as TNG was going on, so he has been brought up in a family of Trek. In fact, we just finished the interview that was finishing up was my interview of him, because when I started playing, he would be in the other room, and I'd go, get in here, and he'd be like, okay, you're going to go here, you're going to do this, okay, good. Send him away. He'd come back in a few minutes later to help me with the next problem. And definitely this is partly his fault, but it's definitely my fault for starting it with him.
There you go. But it's okay. It's a beautiful thing you guys get to do together.
Hey, we beat up people for each other. We both study martial arts. And
nice.
Yeah, for a long time he was my senior, and then I outranked him when he went to college, so now I'm his boss. Yeah. And he is a huge video game person and definitely brought me into the fold, but this is it. This is my game. So when people say, well, when you play this game, I don't play that game. I don't know. I think of this as the gold standard of what a game is.
I love that. Hey, Wes, I want to ask you a question. So we were talking about revisiting things. Is there anything that you have done since your time on Star Trek where you're like, man, I really wish I could go back and revisit that? Because I know there's more I know now about the process. And
as in stuff that I've already done?
Right, yeah.
Heck yes. Like a lot. As much as I love all of the cutscenes that we did in Victoria's Life, my word, I wish I could go back and do a couple of them. Because we were still learning things back then. Like, nowadays, we make a lot of custom animations for everything. Back then, we were still trying to... we were making new stuff, obviously, but we were also trying to reuse as much as we could as well. So you can see a lot of the stock animations of the gestures that people talk, and it's like, I could do so much better now.
Yeah, that is a huge difference I've seen between the old ones and the new ones.
Mm-hmm. And then, and here's another thing. We started and unfortunately we went on lockdown here, but we started doing motion capture, which is a huge change. And I think so. The Jula speech, that was all motion captured. Jula was all
There's
motion.
There's a lot of touch up afterwards, but
right.
Yes, it's a huge help.
Because it gets there's certain subtleties that your body does that it's just really hard for an animator to kind of replicate. And so all the little movements that we did, I got to wear this suit, and Weston would direct me and tell me he would read the lines, and I would kind of mimic and mime towards that line. Like I would do this fist thing and like looking around and looking at different people, and then he was able to kind of take those together and do cleanup. And I think as we continue to do that, will get easier. If the process will get quicker and easier for us to do, and then we'll be able to incorporate that more and more into our different stuff. And we'll be able to create stock animation, but they'll be motion captured. It won't be, and so we can have different varieties of coy or angry or whatever we can do. Like I'm going to do 8 different angries, and then when I need to do a stock angry, I don't have to do the same one every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even like death sequences. It was funny because I'm trying to Weston. I'm going to brag again. We had some boring death sequences, and Weston, you did like a variety of like 5 different ones, right?
Essentially, what was going on is that when your player character died, they had one animation.
Oh, I love the new ones. The new ones. Those are so good.
Yeah, exactly. The one where you're reaching and you
yes.
die.
That was actually, I think that animation was actually used by some of the changelings when they die.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's like creative reuses. I love doing that.
Who told you to do that, actually? Or did you just come up with that on your own?
Oh, geez, it's been so long. I can't remember if it might have been Bill or maybe even if it was Sam. That's been a while now.
But you didn't do that. I guess I was asking if you just said, I want to do this, but you were directed to make a bunch of different...
Yeah, okay. But I mean, I'm always looking to improve player animations at any time. But no, that one was one I was shown later.
That was definitely a hoot when I first saw it, and I'm like, this is great. You're not just dead.
Yeah.
And anytime, go ahead, Wes.
No, I was just gonna say I love that now that I'm on the project, I can help give the players animations that give their characters more emotions. Because like you were saying earlier, Scott. Before, we never really did that. And it's like, that's something I love doing with so many of the cutscenes, especially the more recent ones, it's this little sadistic part of my mind is like, yes, I get to make a cutscene that makes the player gonna cry. Yes! So it's stuff I love doing that kind of thing. And like, that's why I love with the Kittimer Discord, is just that whole thing with the mycelial bombing. You, the player, are the central focus of that cutscene. You are the one that's seeing all this happen. You're the one that's might get killed at this moment. You're the focus of that. I love being able to bring the player into focus as the hero of the story.
Which is what they are. We always wanted that in Star Trek. That's why we play this, is because we want to be Captain Kirk or Picard or whomever.
Absolutely. Right. It stinks in some ways that in a lot of ways Weston is got one hand tied behind his back because the player can't talk in the cutscenes, so we have to figure out ways to do it to where, and we did this actually. Have you guys done the new Klingon tutorial?
Oh yes, yeah. I started a new tune specifically to do that after having done it on a new tune for the old one, so I could do an A/B comparison 2 weeks in a row.
Right. Cool. So who is the prisoner? Davis? Am I getting?
No, that's Franklin Drake.
Drake. It was. I knew it was a D word. So Drake in the original cutscene, like there's all this like Drake talks, and then the player talks with just subtitles, and it just feels weird. So we had to bring in a separate character to kind of be the mouthpiece while Drake talks. So these are things that we have to do, unfortunately, because we don't have the ability to, because you can choose your character, and I want to be a girl, I want to be a guy, I want to be this, I want to be that.
We can't
voice right.
Yes.
We can't voice all that different stuff, so we have to just deal with it in dialogue. So the unfortunate of it. So we have to be creative in the ways in how we make.
It's an interesting challenge to make a pantomiming protagonist, but it's a fun challenge nonetheless, and I think one that can be pulled off relatively well as well. Just not only by our game, by a lot of other games that you see out there as well.
Right.
It does take some thinking outside the box from what you would expect to see, and it does, as you said, becomes more immersive. You definitely are pulled into it more.
Yeah.
Right. Very, very good.
Well, I know we're coming up on the end of the hour. I would like to thank you both for joining us. It was really nice of you. I appreciate it, you giving up some of your Sunday to be here.
Oh, absolutely.
Not a problem. Thank you very much for letting us be a part of that.
Yes, thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Well, you're always welcome. Thank you very much. Hopefully we will maybe see you in Vegas. Who knows?
That would be, well, let's just say I'm going to wait for that vaccine before I go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a possibility, but I'm brave, I'm daring, but it's more to the point of, do I really want to throw almost $10,000 at something? And it just be me and DT and who else is coming with us? Mr. Dave. Me, DT, Mr. Dave, and Board King. 4 of us being there and the only ones there.
Maybe we should cosplay as Breen.
No, I thought that we should cosplay in the red environmental suits from Insurrection.
There you go.
Yep.
Very
Full
cool.
PPE. Thank you both for joining us. I really appreciate it.
welcome.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
You too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye. Wow. Let's put our mics back on here. We got that mic back on. That mic back on. Hey, that was really freaking awesome. That was so nice. So cool. Ooh, I feel like a big kid sometimes when they're here. That was a great day. Okay, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling totally good. I am going to do something here real quick.